Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode, in fact, of the Low Rollers Live from Power Level Podcasts. I, as always, am your host, Danny Allinson, and with me here today I have Jonathan Edwards playing Narroth.
Hello.
I have Danny Garcia playing the role of Astor.
Hey, yeah.
Seymour playing Lilith.
Hey.
And last but not least, Seitz playing Zarrius to round out the party.
Hello, hello.
And of course, we have our amazing dungeon master, Rondeau. You want to give us a hey, hello?
Hey. I shaved for this.
You shaved for this. So, Chris, you want to give us a lowdown of where the story is right now? And then let's go ahead and get started.
Of course. So, the party has recently left the Tower of Babel. They were rescued by what is being called by us players as the Avengers, which is Randall Lycand or Mild Miles, gathering a team of people he trusts to be able to infiltrate the tower and pull the party out. Where he learns things like it was probably the party that released the Wounded King, which he wasn't too sure of before. There were 8 powerful items that were surrounding the Wounded King that seemed to have been released. But the party is now being returned to Randall Lycan's base camp to be able to basically figure out what's going on. They have no recollection of being saved beyond like brief dream-like memories of it. So keep that in mind, players, as we enter this roleplay storyline. And basically, we're just trying to figure out what happened in the tower. We have learned that Commander Kai, through his traitorous ways, has released the Wounded King, but we don't know much about the Wounded King. We don't know why the Wounded King was in the tower in the first place, and why was he standing next to the gods in some of the pictures that were posted there. So that's where we left off. Shall we begin?
Yep, let's do it.
So we're going to open the scene on Zarrius, the servant of Obad-hai. He seems to be wide awake at this point, and as he sort of rubs the glare from his eyes going from darkness into a lit room, he looks around. He recognizes this area quite clearly. This is the office of Asmodeus. Asmodeus is sitting at his desk. He's wearing his normal blue suit. Leaning up behind him on the wall is his wooden staff. And he's sitting there. He has his devilish features, his horns that are on his head, his reddish skin. And he looks at Zarrius with an angrily bemused face and goes, "It seems like we've encountered a problem, Zarrius."
And what would that be?
I anticipated that you would have solved the problem of Commander Kai, but out of the 3 tasks I gave you, you have failed 2 of them. The first one was letting Ryan Yaldwin die, and the second one was not stopping Commander Kai before he brought an evil that even I'm worried about.
Well, you never told me that he was going to do that. I had even asked you for your assistance in the matter.
And frankly, I did not know what was going to happen. But I'm a logical man. I understand that this was probably out of your control. And honestly, you're very lucky to even be alive to survive being in the presence of the lecherous Leon.
Well, I am very thankful that I am still alive, because I might be able to further my desires with you as well as another party.
Yes, I have tracked your communications with Obad-hai, and I have no problem with that. Once you fulfill your contract with me, you can do whatever you would like. But he snaps his fingers. I am going to change our contract, with your permission, of course. When he snaps his fingers, a piece of paper shows up in front of him. And he hands it to you to basically read.
And what am I reading?
The contract basically says that any previous contract with Asmodeus is considered null and void. As you read it, it mentions that you're now only tasked to complete one task of Asmodeus' choosing, as opposed to the 3 of the contract prior. As you're skimming over this, and it's a lot of legal news, so I'm not going to repeat that. But Asmodeus says, see, in this case, I only have one more contract for you. One more thing I need you to do.
And what would that be?
This lecherous Leon, this wounded king, this bane in all Azamar's existence, he needs to go away. He needs to go away so much that if you help put him away through Mild Miles, who will help give you direction, if you do that, I will release you from your contract, and I will even do one better.
And I'm hoping that one better is...
Well, I will, as promised, give you your mother, but I'll also give you your father's true demonic name, the demonic name that will render him powerless in front of you. That is my contract to you if you choose to accept it.
And I immediately sign.
As soon as you sign, the scene fades to black.
Okay.
And you wake up in what appears to be, it's sort of a bedroom. There are 2 beds there. You are in one of the bed. You suddenly feel the soreness of the previous battle sort of come back from you. It's only been a couple days since the fight, and you can feel that from your battle scars, how far they've healed, and you just feel like crap, quite frankly. In this room, there is also appears to be a desk of some sort, and there are 2 other people in this room. Why don't, at this point, as you sort of stand up and you're back in the natural plane, why don't you give me a character description? Zarrius.
Yes. As you guys know, as has been stated before, my name is Zarrius. I am the servant of Obad-hai. I stand 3 foot 2 inches tall. As you can see in my character portrait, that I have a reddish hue to my skin. I have 2 horns that are pointing straight up on my head. My green tunic does kind of protect me. I do not wear any armor. I wield a whip on my hip. The staff that I hold is from the servant of Obad-hai. He gave it to me in a couple chapters ago in our story arc. It gives me some special abilities that you will later see. My tail consists of a nubbed off end because it was kind of seared in a previous battle, and the 3 kind of swooped out parts of it are from a previous character's Tesla cannon, per se. And I do have a scar that's not really visible on this portrait, but I do have a scar on the left side of my face that runs along my eye down to my mouth. You might be able to see it very light, very slight. But yeah, this is Zarrius for you.
Perfect. So as you sort of lean up, you kind of groan, I would imagine, at least you would groan sort of in the feeling of unmoving muscles. And you look over and you see 2 other figures in this room. One, you see a bedridden Astor. His armor has been removed and set off to the side. as well as a figure you haven't met before. He appears to be robotic, warforged in nature.
Is Astor sleeping currently?
Astor has not gained consciousness yet.
Okay. I'm going to approach the robotic Warforged,
Sure.
and first of all, just take a look over at him. Just give him a look over, and then I'm going to ask him, "Can I help you?"
Ah, Master Zarrius,
Yes.
you are awake.
And you are?
I am designate Sentry. I am a medic class.
Ah, I wholeheartedly welcome medics right now.
Yes, you've been out for a few days.
Days?
Yes, days.
Where
As you
are
can
we?
Chris, where are we?
The Sentry would know that you're east of the Blackwater Mansion, which is one of the major cities, is a major port town.
Okay.
I'll relay that information.
Okay. How long have we all been out the same amount of time? And am I the first to wake up that you know of?
No, some of your other companions have awoken at this time. Lilith and Narroth are already awake. However, Astor remains unconscious.
Okay. I'm gonna stay here inside of this room. Astor's a very loyal companion, and I want to make sure he's okay before I go anywhere.
At this point, we can say Astor starts to regain consciousness. Astor, why don't you describe your character at this moment?
Sure. So Astor is a male half elf of average height. He has a trim body, but he's very flexible. He is as many would describe him to be, a minstrel. He does own a lute with an engraving of a fox on it, and he does have a burn wound on his skin surrounding the left eye, which was unintentionally gained from being almost hit by a fireball from Moradin, or partly hit by Moradin. And he is wearing simple traveler's garbs at the moment, and usually dons half plate armor, but as you said earlier, it is off. And for the most part, he is rather, I guess, unimpressive looking aside from when he actually starts to use his equipment.
Yeah, you awaken. You see Zarrius and a robotic creature, designated Sentry.
Okay, well, Astor still lying on his back, just kind of looking to the side. Lets out a very deep sigh, and he says, "Where are we?"
We are in a town just outside of the main town, port town of. I don't remember what the name was.
We are just east of Blackwater Mansion.
Ah, did you hear him, Astor?
He kind of puts his finger in his right ear, cleans it out a bit. Yeah, I heard him. At this point, he sits up on the bed. Has his, sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say, Sentry's like finger opens up and there's a little light that's shining in your eyes, and he's like watching your eye movement.
Are there any issues? He says to the sentry.
A standard checkup.
Oh, let me know when it's done.
It is done.
Oh. So, how are you feeling, Zarrius?
I am rather sore, probably like you, as I heard you groan as you were sitting up. I It hurts, but we're alive. That's what really matters.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. At this point, Astor stands up, staggers just a little bit, but regains his balance. And after taking a quick look around the room, he says, "How's everybody else?"
You're
Yeah,
up.
and we're going to cut to other people
All right.
just so I can know how they're doing. Let's cut to Narroth. Narroth, you have been awake for a while. I'd imagine you would have checked up on Zarrius and Astor and Lilith as well. But you were the first person to recover based on your heritage. If this is like noon right now, imagine you woke up at like 9 o'clock or something like that. You woke up to being attended by Rameth. You remember Rameth as the halfling monk-ish kind of person who defines himself as the Dragon Knight of Tiamat. He is short, he has black hair that's wrapped in a ponytail. He wears a normal, like a karate gi that's black. And over his right eye, his most prominent feature is over his right eye. He has tattooed 5 dragon heads sort of surrounding his eye. Because of that, his eyebrow has been shaved off and that sort of thing as well. You know him to be a pretty powerful warrior. But as he's tending you, you sort of have the same reaction. You groan, yada, yada, yada. But you come face to face with Rameth. Would you like to describe your character?
Sure. Narroth is a 6-foot tall half-dragon. Now, this is slightly different than a dragonborn just by the fact that he has a tail and more aggressively dragon-like features. He is usually carrying a dagger that he got from Moradin at the very early on in his adventures, and a ring that he got in the Shadowfell that has been drilled through the bone of his nose and protects him from some of the nastier effects of the Shadowfell. He usually does not wear much, a simple tunic that covers him slightly, but mostly he lets his bare flesh take the blows of battle.
So yeah, you are there with Rameth, and Rameth goes, easy. You're still sore. You still need some healing. Take your time. Don't push it.
At this point, Narroth would kind of put a hand backwards against the bed that he's on and groan slightly. How long have I been out?
Well, you've been here for about 2 days. It's hard to tell. There's weird time discrepancies with the tower and how long you've actually been out. We'd imagine it's been about 3 or 4 days total. It's really difficult to say. Time works differently in the tower.
Yes, I'm trying to remember. It's a bit fuzzy. I do remember that we were betrayed. And how did we get out?
Oh, you know me. I came and saved the day. No big deal.
Yeah, no big deal. Well, I'm not sure how you survived that thing, but I thank you.
Well, we came in, we came out, but if you remember Randall Lycan, he is not everything he says he was. He is something more than that. I mean, it's hard to explain, but you'll notice the difference when you see him. But he gathered a team, his old friends. Luke was there. I was there. Kufin, if you remember him, was there. A group of us came in and saved your butt, pretty much.
Yes, quite. I shake my head slowly. And the others, did they make it out?
I mean, everyone but your conniving Killian.
Yes, well, I saw to that personally.
Well, the weird part is we couldn't find his body.
Well, when we left it, it was on fire.
Yeah, but the bones would still persist.
I suppose.
That's neither here nor there. That's really not our priority. Um, Once everyone gains conscious, I'm supposed to take you to meet Randall Lycan, or we now know him as Miles, or he likes mild Miles, but no one ever adds the adjective. But I'm supposed to take you to him. But from what I understand, no one's gained consciousness yet. You know, it may be good that we have a conversation, and then while your friends regain, get you some food, get you some water. Should probably get you some, get outdoors to stretch a little bit as well.
Yes. Now, what did you want to talk about before everybody else gained consciousness?
Well, first of all, I tended to your wounds because I know more about dragons than anyone else in this camp. So, your physiology is very interesting. I don't think I've met a half dragon before. So it was very interesting to study what parts of you were dragon and what parts of you were human per se. I mean, you still bleed red for what it's worth.
Yeah, but the rest of me is pretty red also, so that doesn't mean much.
Dragons don't necessarily bleed as much as humans do, but that's a different story. But we need to talk about what we talked about in Zhangzhou prior to you leaving for the tower. I gave you a warning that didn't seem to be heeded quite well.
Remind me, what was this warning?
I told you not to become the evil you guys were fighting.
Oh, I didn't. I got to right before the end, and I couldn't go through with it. I opted to wait behind, protect the party from the rear, just in case someone would come after them, and then leave if they couldn't maintain themselves from the temptation that was in the last floor of that god-awful place. It was only at the urging of the gods we saw there that I went down in order to try and stop the betrayer.
Well, just keep in mind to strive for balance. We want to be better than what we were the day before. Even Tiamat and her craziness wants us to be better than what we were the day before. Just keep that in mind. I fear for what power you can obtain, both from your dragon side and, as you know, your human side. Just be careful.
You say balance, but you say to be better than we were before. Are you talking be morally better? Because that would seem to point to one side of the scale.
No, but I think we can better ourselves, better our decision making, become calmer, think things through a little better. When you're young, being a teenager or younger, you automatically run into decisions. You automatically do things. I mean, babies cry all the time and you just can't seem to appease them. But as you grow older, you learn that, food will come the next day. You learn that your parents will be there to take care of you in most circumstances. You learn to tame yourself to quell the aggression. And that's something we need to work on till the day we die, really. And that's something I challenge to you because with your power, I think you really need to focus on that.
Narroth kind of scoffs a little bit. All of the examples you have given were not true in my case. I think this is something I can work on, but I have a long way to go if your examples, even the basic ones, are not as relatable.
Yes, but now you have friends. Now you have people who are walking beside you. Just keep that in mind.
Narroth nods and looks to the outdoors. You. So where are we exactly?
Yes, we are east of the Blackwater Mansion. We have set up a small camp here. We have a couple buildings set up, and yeah, I mean, Mild Mouse is going to explain more to you when you get there. But this is basically our base camp as we survive. It's grim out there. Narth, what you do notice is as you look out the window is that when you went into the tower, it was summer, it was sunny, it was, grand weather-wise. I mean, now you notice that there is chill in the air. You can see spots of rain coming down, where Tyria is normally a pretty sunny place, and Blackwater Mansion is definitely a more plains and more natural things. It gives you the impression that this is winter instead of summer.
Narroth looks outside. How much time has passed exactly? Looking back to Ramoth.
Well, when you left Zhangzhou, it was the summer solstice. We are approaching the winter solstice now.
Half a year?
Yes, it seemed like, based on our calculations, every day you spent in the tower, about a month passed outside the tower. It's hard to average out because it seems like if you're at the top of the tower, less time passed outside. As you went deeper, more time passed. It was kind of hard to really make a judgment, but we're guessing a day equaled about a month on average, at least with our pace as we descended the tower.
So how much time are you missing? How long did it take for you to come and get us?
Well, we went into the tower for about 36 hours, and we came out, and like 7 weeks passed. That's when we pulled you out. But as far as how long you were in the tower, that's hard to say. I imagine it would have taken you time to travel, but I'm not sure how fast the airship was to get there. There's no definitive answer.
Narroth nods. Understood. Now, you say the others are out. I would like to see how they're recovering.
Of course. And we'll cut out here. Lilith.
Yes.
You are having a very bad dream right now.
Okay.
If you remember Commander Kai, you are looking face to face with him right now, and he has a gun pointed to your head. This kind of is reminiscent of your past, which we won't talk about too much. But Kai has this gun, he's pointing it at you, and he shoots it. You hear the bang in your head, but you don't feel any pain. As you look up, you see Astor on the floor, bleeding out in a very reminiscent way of your past. But as we get to that point, you wake up and recover. Would you like to describe your character?
Yeah. Lilith is a human. She's an attractive female that wears very fine made normal clothes. She has a green shirt. It cuts low in the front to accentuate certain parts of her body. She wears tight white pants, knee-high brown heeled boots with gold accents, and a long brown coat with green and gold accents. At her waist, she carries a flanged rod that looks like a small mace. On her other side, she has a holstered pistol. On her back, she carries a bronze and silver shield emblazoned with the symbol of an eye. And around her neck, she wears the blue symbol of the god Arathis. She has short blonde hair, blue eyes.
Cool. Yeah. So you wake up in a room as well. The room is clearly empty at this point. There is the 2 beds, but you're the only one stationed here. You see all your gear sort of put up against the wall. You saw the heavier gear. Because your armor is what it is, they did not take that off, probably because they didn't know any better. But you feel the groans, the creaks, the soreness from that. What would you like to do? Would you like to wait? Would you like to try to get up?
I sit up and look around.
Cool. So you're in this room, and I think the most prominent thing in this room is the desk area is filled with surgical equipment. You do notice bandages that are there that are red from surgery or stitching or that sort of thing. As you sort of feel around, you do realize you've been stitched up or you've been injured. The second most prominent thing is looking outside. You do notice that it is winter as opposed to summer. Especially someone who's as well traveled as Lilith is.
So I noticed that it's been a long time since we were in that tower.
Yes.
I get up and I stand. Is it hard to stand?
I mean, as long as you're not like jumping up and getting up there, you can stand pretty easily. I mean, you're not that bad off.
Okay, so I know that my wounds were not magically healed.
Yeah, they appear to have been stitched through natural means.
Okay. The first thing I do is I go over to my equipment, just do a quick check, and I grab my rod and I attach it to my belt. I leave the gun where it is.
As you do that, you hear a slight knock on the door, and someone walks in. She is a human female. She is about 5'7", but she has that nun clothing that you would think about when you think of stereotypical nuns that we see on TV and whatnot. This may be because I watched Sister Act over Christmas, but I imagine Sister Act for some reason.
Okay.
She is wearing the holy symbol of Saloon, the goddess of the moon.
So I assume she's an elf.
No, she is human.
Okay. I say, sister.
Yes. Oh, you're awake. Oh, that's great news. That's great news. We've been tending you for hours and hours, and oh my god, I have to take you to Miles. I have to take you to Miles. Or do you want to see your friends? I can take you to your friends. What do you want to do?
I don't think my friends want to see me right now. Just who's Miles?
Sorry. He is called Randall Lycan. Have you heard of him? Maybe it's best to take it to your friends or peers or whatever you choose to call them. We in the church saloon don't judge.
I know who Randall Lycan is, correct?
Probably heard of him. I don't know if you met him.
Okay. I say, no. You can take me to Miles. As I said, there was some things that happened that I don't think my friends, and I do the little air quote thing, want to see me.
Okay, we're going to walk you very slowly. Or do you want me to get you a wheelchair, or how would you like to travel?
I reach up and grasp the holy symbol, and I let the healing magic wash over me to sort of recuperate a little faster.
Cool.
So I don't know, maybe cure wounds at like 3rd level.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we don't need to worry about that. But cool. So you feel yourself. I mean, there's still soreness, but there's not pain per se.
Right. And I say, no, I'm good. I can walk.
She seems shocked for the split second, and she's like, "Okay, we'll take you to Miles now, and yeah, you'll have a long conversation with him." We'll cut back to Zarrius, Astor, and Sentry. So you guys, to reiterate, you guys are in the room. You guys were talking about Narroth and Lilith and what they've been up to. So if Narroth woke up at 9 o'clock, Lilith woke up at like 10:30, and now it's noon. So Sentry would know that Lilith went to go talk to Miles and that sort of thing.
So real quick, you said that Astor's equipment is in the room.
Yeah, it's all there. Everything but Dav.
Okay.
Sentry,
Yes.
since we were discussing between ourselves if anyone is up and about, do you know if anyone is up and about of our companions? Are you aware of
Yes.
anyone?
Both of your companions have awoken at this point. If you'd like, I can take you to either one of them. I believe Lilith is currently speaking with Miles, and Narroth is with Rameth.
I think we should go see Narroth and Rameth. What do you think, Astor?
Astor takes a couple of seconds to respond, but eventually, after looking at his equipment, he turns back to you and he says, "Well, let's go ahead and meet up with Narroth first."
I will take you to Rameth's tent.
Thank you.
Most appreciated.
Move slowly. You don't want to strain yourself at this point. You are still recovering from your wounds. And Sentry will lead him over to wherever they are.
Sure. So John or Narroth, none of your friends have gained consciousness yet. What would you have done to spend some time at this point?
I'd probably be walking around.
Cool.
One of the Narroth's things that he likes to do, or had liked to do most before he was traveling everywhere on airship, was to fight against either a dummy or practice movements with his dagger in order to simulate a fighting scenario. So he would probably start doing the first kind of movements of that, trying to have his body respond to him as he used to.
Yeah, and that's something that Rameth could also do with you, just as a, not as like a sparring partner, because you're probably not ready for that quite yet. But as a
more like a meditative practice.
Right. If you're okay with that, if you want to be on your own, that's cool too.
No, I'd probably be with Rameth.
Right. So we're gonna put you basically right outside Rames's tent.
Sounds good.
All right. So a few hours comes by. First, Rames probably makes you some tea and some food to eat, and then you go into this meditative stretching, practicing technique practice thing. Come in when you see Astor, Zarrius, and a robotic warforged thing walking towards you. You probably have met Sentry already from when you checked up on them earlier.
I look over. You're awake.
Surprisingly.
And you are too, obviously.
Took you long enough.
Hey,
How-
not
how
a
long-
half dragon.
Doesn't matter, guys. Come on.
Narroth smiles, serious as ever. Zarrius?
Yes, as always. Have you seen Lilith yet, Narroth?
Narroth kind of looks away. No.
Well, maybe it's time we go see Mild Miles.
You're actually
Yeah.
calling him Mild Miles?
I said Mild Miles. He wants to be called that name. I'm gonna call him that name.
Certainly is an interesting name to have an adjective as part of it. Not
I'm
quite
okay with
sure
the
what I
mild.
think about that.
I'm okay with the Miles part, but he made his own nickname too?
I guess.
Well, we don't know for sure it's a nickname. We can ask him if it's important enough. So, honestly, let me ask one other important question to you first, Nara. How are you feeling?
Well, I'm up, and I can, almost do all of my movements very slowly. So, better.
Good, good. Yeah. Do we want to go and see Miles now then?
Are you up for a trip? Seems like you just got out of beds. Got out of bed, and you look like you might have been dead earlier.
Astor is mid yawn until you said the dead earlier part, and then he kind of coughs out a laugh. It sounds like. Well, that's much more accurate than you would believe. Astor kind of just slaps his left hand on his cheek and says, "Yeah, let's go."
Okay, let's go.
And you go. We'll cut to Lilith, who is being taken to Randall Lycan currently. And as you're walking across this thing, first you notice that it's cold outside. You being human, you're more. You have to deal with the weather a little more than the other races do. But this nun is talking your ear off as you're going.
So as we walk, I make the coat a little heavier, and I sort of ignore her, just sort of in my own head.
Cool. You approach. So you leave this building, which was the main hospital. You see a series of tents out there, and then you head to another building. It's smaller. It's about a one-room cabin, maybe 2 rooms where there's a wall built in there, but it's not very big. This lady knocks on the door, and after a few seconds, someone opens it, and you recognize. You don't recognize him. Randall Lycan is an old man. He looks like he's in his 80s. He is wearing some sort of grayish robe, but he has some features that are strikingly similar to what you remember of Kai when Kai assumed his Asimar form. He has the wings that are under his back, and as you sort of look past him back into the thing, you can see his wings there, just sort of in a, we'll call it a lazy position, and he doesn't seem to have any pupils. There is just the whites of his eyes. But beyond that, he looks like a regular old 80-year-old man, but he walks like he's in his 20s. Goes, I don't think we met. I believe you are Lilith. My name is Mild Miles.
How you doing, Miles? My name is Lilith, as you know that. Wow. Are you the ones that came and got us from the tower?
Yes. One of my teams was able to pull you out. We're in a very precarious situation. I'm not quite sure. Well, I have a plan. I just don't know if the plan is going to work.
Yes. Kind of feel responsible.
No one could have known what conniving Killian would have done. I don't fault you for helping him. He was deceitful, he was manipulative. But in the end, we must live with our choices, and I hope we can use you. But I do have a letter for you.
Okay.
It is from the Church of Arathis in Tyria. It seems like you're being summoned to there, but I didn't read the note. He beckons you in. He goes through a stack of papers on a desk, and he pulls out an envelope and hands it to you. And it does have a seal of Arathis on the back, and it is labeled Cleric Lilith von Kiln on it, and it has, on the left-hand corner, it has Temple of Arathis and an address, which you recognize. This is pretty standard for Arathis.
I open the letter.
You skim the letter and you read something. I'm paraphrasing here. Something along the lines of, based on recent events involving the Tower of Babel and this creature known as the Wounded King, your presence has been summoned to the Church of Arathis Interior to help us develop a plan to restore civilization in Tyria and to the world. We've also had some information on a man named Roland, which you have asked us to keep an eye out in the past. Your presence will be welcome at your earliest convenience, but time is of the essence.
I look to Miles and I say, thank you. And I just look at him and say, I'm a little out of sorts. A lot of stuff happened down there, and I'm sorry.
And I'm sorry that you are part of this. Conniving Killian was the worst that could be brought out by the Azamar race, but I am waiting for your colleagues to wake up so we can have a discussion on what to do next. I have plans that I would like all of you to participate with.
Understood. I look around for a chair.
Oh, there's a chair there. I mean, the room is very well furnished as far as practical furniture. There are chairs there, there are tables. As far as luxuries like paintings or anything like that, there don't appear to be much of that. There's one chair that is behind the desk, which is the only chair that seems to have any sort of cushion on it, but no other chair has that sort of comfort. There is a door going into another room that is probably some sort of bedroom or something like that. And yeah, so you can sit wherever you want.
Let's just take a seat and sort of quietly sit there.
All right. Some time passes, and Lilith will hear a knock at the door again. And Mild Miles opens the door, and you see Astor, Zarrius, Narroth, and Sentry. Couldn't remember his name. And so they're there. Sentry is sort of beckoned off by Mild Miles, saying that he has other people to take care of, and the four of you are reunited.
Well, as you're walking through the room, Astor gives an indifferent nod towards Lilith's direction. Neither positive nor negative can be interpreted. And he turns towards Miles and he says, "Well, how are you doing? I'd like to say Randall, but apparently that's not your name, Miles."
Yes, Randall Lycan was a persona I took in the good old days of peace.
Doesn't seem like that. Those days of peace are still happening, I'm afraid.
We have a lot to talk about, but come in and get yourself acquainted. We have some things to talk about and some people I would like you to meet.
Astor pulls up a chair.
Thank you. I say that to Miles. So what do you need to talk to us about?
Well, first of all, I have someone I want you to meet. He puts his hand to his mouth. He lets out a whistle, and the sound is carried throughout the camp. It's something similar to a thaumaturgy spell, which you divine folk will know about. And yeah, he sighs, walks over to his desk, takes out a piece of paper. This piece of paper seems very crumpled and goes, "Before we begin, one of my team has volunteered to assist you going forward. She is not willing to tell you what to do. She only wants to help you fight. We traveled again together for some time, and her steady eye, steady hand, and steady heart proved immensely valuable, which is why I chose her to assist you at the tower. I must warn you, in many ways she is unpredictable. She has a reputation for disrupting the status quo. However, she has never betrayed my trust. She is a deadeye with her weapons, a master of sleight, and at this point he kind of rubs his eyes and groans. A dexterous devil and known for her ruthlessness against her enemies." He sort of looks up and goes, "Oh God." "She is the unsung hero of the Shadowfell, the guardian gunslinger, the triggerman tiefling, the demon drifter." And he sighs and opens the door and waits expectantly for absolutely nothing to happen. And he sits there and goes, "The demon drifter." And like 15 more seconds go by, and then there's nothing until
until you see a tiefling about 5'2". She runs by the door that he has swung open. She's not paying attention to you whatsoever. She runs by, and perched on her horns is a chicken that many of you would recognize as being half robotic. And as she runs by, she screams, "Come on, Cooper, fly me to the moon!" And she just kind of runs past the door, and out of sight again on the other side of the door. And then a second or so later, she runs back the other way, giggling, until she kind of out of the corner of her eyes spots you guys and trips on something as her focus is pulled away from whatever it is she's doing at this point in time. And she kind of does a little tumble, lands on her ass, kind of like in a sitting up, cross-legged position, and while she was falling, the robot chicken flew off of her horns and is gently gliding back down onto her shoulder. And she's just kind of like giggling there on the floor and looking at you guys. And she goes, "Oh, did I miss my cue?"
You wrote me this whole speech to say in bad handwriting on a crumpled up piece of paper you found in a trash can.
Okay, hold on. She'll get up and run over to the door and shut it again. And just before she does so, she goes, "Just do it again."
He opens the door. No.
Fine, you spoil sport. "Hi, I'm Bryn."
At this point, you can see that Astor just has, like, he's kind of double face palming, honestly. And you hear just like a slight groan.
Narroth's going to give a snort of amusement, and you'll see a trail of smoke going up from his nostrils.
Then Astor just says, "Well, I guess she does better acrobatics than I do. My name is Astor. How do you do?"
She'll like run in and shake his hand. I'm guessing his hand is stretched out.
Yes.
"It's very nice to meet you. I've heard lots of stories about you three." And she looks over to Lilith. "Yeah, you four."
Astor has the slightest grin coming, like, up from the right side of his lips.
"You weren't kidding. These ones are really a sour bunch, aren't they?" Looking over at Miles.
I can neither confirm nor deny that statement.
She'll move over to Narroth next.
Yes, little one.
"Hey, I'm not that small." She'll reach out her hand.
Narroth will take it and shake it once.
"Nice to meet you."
And you. And Narroth is going to look down on the floor. How did this chicken survive? He goes ahead and picks it up.
"Hey, don't mess with Cooper too much."
Thank you for taking care of this bird of mine, Narroth is going to say in halting sentences.
"Psh, bird of yours." She walks over to Zarrius and kneels down to be at like eye level with him.
I'm sitting in a chair.
Okay. Kneels down to be at eye level with them. Not quite as far.
Hello. And
Hi,
how
Zarrius.
are you helping us?
She'll as he says that, she'll like flip her gun out of her holster. Like flip it a few times going up, flip it a few times going back. "I have my ways."
Okay.
You hear in the background, Miles goes, "At least she isn't making sound effects this time."
Oh, God.
She makes sound effects.
"Miles, you weren't supposed to tell them that."
That wasn't on the paper.
Hahaha.
And then finally she'll look over at Lilith, who probably looks the worst for wear out of everybody here. I'm guessing.
Well, emotionally.
Yeah, probably.
Right. "Lilith, it's nice to meet you."
A pleasure, I'm sure.
So, Randall, what are we doing?
You see him scoff and rub his face again. All right. Let's talk about two issues. We have the major issue, which is lecherous Leon has risen again. He has been freed from his tower, and we must find a way to take care of him.
Yes.
But the underlying issue is that we believe that this conniving Killian was doing the work of someone else. It wasn't his idea to go free this wounded king.
I would agree with that statement due to
Oh,
the fact that he had certain things that were blocking gods from figuring out what he was doing.
you're not
Well,
going. You're not going to tell me it was a cult or anything like that, are you?
no, not a cult per se, but actually, it wasn't the wounded king who made the gods forget about him. The gods actively chose to make themselves forget, so the wounded king would never be freed again. There were 7 original gods, 7 original Asimars that came. You had the courageous Coralon, prestigious Palor, sincere Saloon, the antagonizing Asmodeus, lawless Loth, and Gosh Garl Glittergold, as well as Letra's Leon. They were the first people here, but the other gods turned on Letra's Leon because of his decisions and his choices. And while most of the gods have taken more human forms of either being an elf like Coralon or a tiefling like Asmodeus, he became something else. He became a monster. But why would anyone want him free is beyond me. Let me draw this out for you to make sure you guys can understand. Over the past 200 years, there has been many weird events going on that didn't make sense until, well, it still doesn't really make sense. So take, for instance, the natural plane. Think of it, you guys know it as Excelsior. Some people may know it as something different in other places. But we have the natural plane. When the Azamar came, there were 2 places that opened up. There was the Astral Sea, and then there were the 9 Hells. These things were created by the gods to basically have a ruling place over the world. Over the course of time, the Feywild made itself apparent, as well as elves tried to reconnect with some of their kind in the Feywild. But in the last 2 years, someone has forced the Shadowfell to open up too. The Shadowfell being this place of darkness that sort of act as a parallel to Natural Plane. Some of you guys may know it as the planets or whatnot. But also 100 years ago, someone opened up the 4 elemental towers, which unlocked a new set of elemental beings to come into the world. So because of that, we have the people who are natural denizens of this earth. We have tieflings coming from the 9 Hells, people taking the power from there. We have people who can take the power from the Feywild itself. But now we also have people who can take the power from the elemental planes and become Genasi. We can have people who can take power from the Shadowfell now. These power sources are opening up. But why? Why is the question. You sort of see the issue?
Yeah,
Well,
I see the issue.
yes. Do you have any speculations on why?
Think of it like this. When the Wounded King came back, he opened up another power source that I can't figure out. And basically what it did was this, and he sort of takes his quill, like marks all over the map like this. And now there's this other power source that is uncontrollable around the world. And while we have to deal with the Wounded King and the Lecherous Leon, we also have to figure out, why is this power source here? What is this thing that is happening? I mean, we see these events, we see the Battle of the Shadowfell going on, which opens up this new power source. We see something like the Elemental Towers coming out, and we see a new power source. Even something as simple as the battle that outlawed magic. With a lot of these mages being arrested and killed, that means there's untapped power in the natural plane where magic is derived from. So there's all this stuff going on that is connected somehow, but we have this missing issue. Why is this stuff happening? And even more so with the Wounded King back, he's going to kill more people, and more people, that gives more power to be accessed from whoever is causing these disturbances. I've heard rumors from the Feywild that Mordenkainen was murdered. And Mordenkainen has the largest access to the arcane arts. He has the power to access the Feywild and the natural plane through his magic, and that's why he was so powerful.
So you're telling me there was something strong enough to take out Mordekainen?
Yes. Strong enough to know about the Wounded King, and also to manipulate someone to free him.
So what's your plan?
My plan is, quite frankly, it's one step at a time. We have a couple of priorities, and that is, I predict that the Wounded King is not at full power. It takes time to recover of entrapment for millions of years. I think we have about 6 months before he reaches full power, which in my mind gives us 6 months to really stop this problem. And hopefully that number is correct, but there are some people who are unaffected by his mind control. The strong-willed are. You guys are immune as well because you were in the tower when he was released. People like Rameth Wheatley, people who are strong inherently, are able to be free from his grasp. Also, people who are affected by the other planes of existence seem to be fine. The Genasi appear to be unaffected. The Tieflings appear to be unaffected. So the Aasimar, the original 6 gods, have opted to lend their power. Now we're seeing more Aasimar appear. We have granted them more power. We have allowed them to do this to become resistant. But that is still only a small part of the population against, well, everyone else. And we still have to figure out how to defeat the Wounded King. And Aasimars normally aren't killable. They're immortal. So those are the stakes right now, and the plan isn't very nice.
Lilith looks to Miles and says, could it be one of the other gods? Ones who are not ASMR?
I don't think the power of the whole Pantheon could take out the Wounded King, with the exception of maybe Pelor himself, but he has been unresponsive for a couple thousand years, ever since. Well, that's another story. So ultimately, the plan isn't to kill the Wounded King. The plan is to trap. We need to make another tower.
Could possibly one of the other more dark gods have found out about his resting place and worked through Killian?
We don't think it was the Pantheon. No one is going to benefit from the Wounded King being back. We think it is something else. Not maybe an Asimar, not part of our Pantheon. Maybe something that doesn't normally participate in the world's events. If one of the original gods would have remembered the Wounded King, everyone should have remembered, but no one remembered until after he was released.
Then how is that possible?
Well, I don't know.
Somebody must have known.
Well, someone must have known, but I have no idea who that is.
So what do you want us to do first?
Well, this may come to a surprise, but there are other continents out there. There are 4 total, actually. But one of these continents have been a homestead for tieflings and eventually Genasi when the towers were open. I went to send you there as diplomats.
Bryn just kind of lets out a giggle after the word diplomats.
Yes, diplomats.
So let me get this straight. Narroth kind of shakes his head. We caused the problem, and you want us to go to the people that it's affected and see if we can find out who's behind it? Why would they talk to us?
Actually, that's the thing. These people you haven't affected, they're Tiefling and Genasi. They haven't been affected by the mind control. This is the best place for us to find help. People who cannot be mind controlled.
And Lilith looks up and says, Narroth, you did not cause this.
Narroth does not respond.
Lilith looks to Miles and says, this is all well and good. But I don't think that I am welcome here anymore. The Temple of Arathis and Tyria has requested my presence and my aid. I think that I will go home. She looks at the other 3 and says, I'm sorry. And she walks out of the room.
Well, as you start to walk out, Astor says, hold it.
She stops for a second, looks around, and says, Astor, I know what I've done.
No,
And she
hold on.
continues to walk.
There's a very important point we need to confirm first. And Astor turns towards Miles and he says, are the people in the Church of Arathis affected by the mind control of the Wounded King?
Well, they're dominantly human, but I don't know how many people, if they're strong-willed enough to resist the promise of the Wounded King.
At this point, Astor turns back towards Lilith and says,
She
I don't-
already walked away.
Well, at this point, Astor kind of shrugs his shoulders and goes, oh well, sits back down.
You're gonna let her walk away?
Bryn, go grab her. Please.
On it. Bryn will run out the door. And grab onto, well, not grab onto Lilith, but just run around the front of her.
But
You know nobody's blaming you, right?
the looks on their face are enough. And I walk around her.
She'll walk back around the front of Lilith. They want your help.
No, they want my power. That's it.
No, I think they want to... You went into the tower together. I think they want you to stick together.
I was only there because I was useful. I was conned. My past was used against me. I'm not wanted here.
As I understand, you were all conned. I don't know the whole situation, but Lana did tell me that this man named Kai came in and told you about this thing. Seems like he was the ringleader in this whole situation.
Yes.
Which would make them just as much victims as you are.
No. I sided with it.
They all sided with him at one point or another. But in the end, you did what was right.
No. I took revenge. I didn't do what was right for what was right's sake. I took revenge because he broke my trust.
Well, maybe you didn't do what was right for what's right's sake, but you did do what was right. And baby steps are the best way to do something.
Well, I was requested by the head cleric of my church. I must go there. They need some time. It's what's best for everybody.
She'll stop like this like leapfrog thing that they're doing and be like, okay, if you need the time, I'll let them know you need the time.
I don't need the time. They need the time. Then
Sure.
she walks back to the room where her equipment is.
And Bryn will walk back to the room where the rest of them are.
So before Bryn gets back, and Bryn ran out in this scenario, Miles sort of looks at the party, and you're going to let her walk away without any words? Anything else?
No,
As
I
you
just
can
don't
see-
have the energy to go after her right now.
And as you saw, she did not want to hear what I had to say, so
And then you sat back down without talking to her.
I did talk to her. She wouldn't listen.
And then you let her walk out the door. What kind of leader is that?
At this point, Astor kind of raises an eyebrow and he says, "Excuse me?
You heard me. What kind of leader is that?
That's not what I was asking. Who said I'm the leader?"
Pretty much been the leader for a while.
I'm pretty
How's
sure
that?
Ryan Yaldwin did when he died.
Quit hardening your heart. We need to talk to her before she takes off. If she is going to take off. We need to let her know how we really feel.
Look, the boat leaves for Asea, the new continent, in 2 hours. You need to at least talk to her and have her see you off. No matter where you guys are going, 2 hours isn't going to kill any of you guys. But you need to be more honorable than that. You need to create friends, create friendships. I think at this point, Bryn can walk back in the room. You need to trust each other because you guys went through a horrible thing, and even the Asmar, no matter what side of the morality spectrum they lie, I would even say Asmodeus and Coralon consider themselves friends. And I'm guarantee they're going to be working together to help fix this problem in this plane. I would highly encourage you guys to do the same.
Come on, Astor.
A few seconds pass. Astor looks in Zarrius' direction. Then he looks over towards Narroth. How is Narroth behaving, by the way?
At this point, Narroth is looking out the window, but not saying anything. A little bit pensive, I guess you would say.
Okay, well,
I end up getting up and start to try to push you in the direction of the door.
That
Bryn,
probably
can you
doesn't
help
work
me,
that much.
please?
Oh god.
wait, I'm sorry, what?
You as in whom?
Astor or Narroth?
I'm sorry. One more time.
You said I'm going to push you out the door. Who are
I'm
you?
starting to push Astor. I'm trying to start to push Astor out the door, and I ask for Bryn's assistance.
Yeah, perhaps I'm not the best person to talk to her, seeing as I met her 5 minutes ago, and she'll grab Astor's hand and start pulling.
Yeah, I don't think either of you guys have the strength to really budge Astor, besides maybe get him off balance for that split second.
That's probably true. But
We have a gnome tiefling and a other tiefling who I think has the same amount of strength as Zarrius.
that is sad. I have double their strength. Dang.
And you're in armor and all that stuff.
Well, actually, he didn't put his armor on, but still. Ashley goes, okay, hold on.
No holding on. Let's go.
No. I'm
Each
want to
time
talk to someone else.
Each time we waste, each time passes, we lose. She gets farther away.
I understand that. Let me talk for a second. Astor turns towards Narroth and he says, Narroth, if possible, I would like for you to come along as well.
Nope, this one you're doing on your own.
We'll talk more later. At this point, Astor turns towards the door, and I don't know how quickly he can move, but he'll walk at a pretty brisk pace to try and go towards Lilith.
I mean, if anything, Bryn can give you directions of where Lilith was staying, and
That away!
Lilith did not seem to give off the impression that she was like running off. I think it was more of a pensive walking, slowly collecting the stuff, so it shouldn't be too hard to catch up with her. Probably in her room, at least.
And are both Zarrius and Bryn going with me?
Nope.
Yes.
Oh, so just Zarrius.
Yep.
Okay. So we go to her room. If the door's closed, we knock on the door.
Just open it. I open the door.
Can you reach the handle?
I can reach the handle.
Okay.
Tiptoes,
What?
man, tiptoes.
What do you guys want? I think I've already done enough.
On the contrary, You actually have done very little.
Agreed.
Ask Narroth and ask him if he thinks the same thing.
Well, to be fair, Narroth's head is as hard as his scales, so it's gonna take him a while. We might need a drill made of mithril or something to get through his head, but it'll happen eventually. Out of character, is mithril a thing in this world? I forget.
Yeah, but it's an upper class thing, so.
Cool, so what I said makes sense. Okay, back in character. Listen, Lilith, your head is about half as hard as his, but I do want to talk to you.
Well, I guess you have about as long as it takes me to gather my things.
Well, we are standing in the doorway, so you're going to have to get through us before you go anywhere.
No need to threaten her or whatever,
I'm
Zarrius.
not threatening her.
And I turn to Zarrius and I say, you do forget that I do have transportation magic. You standing there has nothing to stop me.
I understand.
I mean, I have that magic too, but let's not go there.
I personally have no hard feelings against what you did. Your loyalty to us has been so valuable. I really appreciate what you have done with the time that you've spent with us.
Quite honestly, I agree with Zarrius for the most part. I mean, we went through Zhangjiao, had a very intense time there, and I mean, in case you've forgotten, how do I put this? I quite more than willingly invited you aboard my ship, Lana's ship, I guess, but invited you aboard the ship, and I did tell you more or less how things were, and you accepted. So, as far as I'm concerned, while what you did was rather shocking, I guess I'd say, honestly speaking, I'm not too butthurt about it, if you will.
I hold up my hand and I say, Astor, I'm the reason the Wounded King is back. If I hadn't done what I did, Narroth possibly could have stopped Killian from raising the Wounded King.
At this
But
point,
I stopped Narroth. I'm the one responsible for all this craziness. Me.
At this point, Astor just scoffs and says, and says, rather self-important, aren't you? Lest you forget, the first ones to meet with him were myself and Zarrius. We went along with him for weeks on end. I, for one, helped him get the first one inadvertently by letting a goddamn casino get burned down to the ground. And then not only that, we also went with him to the Underdark willingly to help him get the second piece. And then for the third one, the third and final one in Zhangjiao, all of us helped him out on that. If anything, more me because I was the one who incited the crowd, the knights of that kingdom. I, just a little more than Zarrius, am more at fault than everybody else here. Quite honestly, I should be the one grabbing my things, leaving, and just, flipping the middle finger and saying, screw you all, I've done enough, bye. So no, you are not the entire cause of this. Screw you for thinking that.
My apologies for the way Astor spoke to you. What we are all saying is that we're all blaming ourselves for what happened.
I should have died, for crying out loud. And Astor was just kind of increasing in volume as he was speaking. Did you not see that one spell that stupid hag used on me? I was supposed to be dead. Anyways, long story short, I think Narroth is may likely be more angry at himself for not having been able to do what he wanted to do than he would be at the way you were behaving. If you still feel like you should leave because you think you need some time to yourself, fine, we respect that. At the least, I would implore that you wait until the group sets sail to start doing what Miles wants to do.
It's only going to be about an hour or two before the ship leaves. We would love for you to see us off as we leave, if you aren't going to be staying with us.
Before anything, have responsibilities, and I've neglected those responsibilities. I think it's time that I take my responsibilities more seriously. What happened in the tower revealed a little bit to me some things that I didn't know, and some things about myself that were not a very good trait. I was so caught up in something that maybe it's time that I just go home. I think it'll be in the best interest of everybody if she just hangs her head and says, I'll be leaving as soon as I pack my things. I appreciate the time that we had together, and maybe one day we'll see each other again. But for now, I think it's better if I leave.
We will.
Now, sorry, go ahead, Zarrius.
I believe that when we come back, that we will come searching for you. In complete honesty.
Lilith, if there's one thing I would honestly want you to do for us, it should be nice and easy for you. And I won't bother you if you're willing to at least do this one thing. For the sake of the time that we have spent together, which infuriating to an extent, just because we are all individual people, we're still good times. I would highly appreciate it if you wouldn't mind setting aside your journey for at least 2 hours. Just see us off. You can be on your not so merry way, and I'll wish the best for you at that point in time as well. Just relax for another 2 hours, see us off, and feel free to do as you please.
Please, Lilith.
We'll see.
I will give you 1 silver.
Astor.
We'll
Let's not.
see.
Let's go, Astor.
And she turns around and continues packing her thing.
Astor follows Zarrius. And at some point, well, actually, no, Zarrius is faster than Astor, but Astor follows Zarrius and they walk back to where Miles is. I'm assuming that's where Zarrius is going to go to.
Yes.
I'd like to do something real quick, Chris, if it's okay.
Sure.
When I finish packing my stuff, I take out a piece of parchment and ink and a quill, and I write on the piece of parchment, I'm sorry, but I can never forgive myself for what I have done to you and yours. And I can't stand the pain that I see in Narroth's face. And I just simply sign it Lilith, leave it on the bed, and find my way out of the camp back towards Tyria.
And I think on that note, we're going to take a quick intermission for about 10 minutes or so, and then we'll come right back to the action.
And we are back with more Low Rollers Live. Chris, you want to take it away?
Sure. So we left off, the camera went to black with Lilith writing a note and then walking out of the building, the hospital where she is currently staying at, and is basically attempting to walk south to the main city of Tyria to answer the call of Arathis, per se. Zarrius and Astor is currently returning to where Mild Miles and Narroth is, but we're going to open the camera on the awkward silence revolving around Mild Miles and Narroth until, well, we'll see who breaks the silence first. Does Narroth break the silence?
Nope.
So Mild Miles sort of rubs his eyes and looks towards Narroth. What is your problem with this? Why are you so upset?
You're speaking of Lilith there?
Yes, I'm assuming that is what is bothering you.
Well, I got a... well, it sounds weird if I say it out loud. I got a message from the gods, I guess you could say. They told me to stop whatever you guys call him now, stop Commander Kai from unleashing the Wounded King. I came in, was preparing to hold him so that he could not release the king, and Lilith turned around and completely just froze me. I could not move. I could not cast the spell. I could not do anything but watch helplessly as the Wounded King was released. She chose to side with the traitor and stop the one trying to solve all this.
But did she know that Kai was a traitor?
He was the one who I was trying to stop. He was the one who I was saying that I was commanding to stop at the time. There were two sides.
When I talked to Rameth about your adventures in Zhengzhou, he mentioned that when Lilith was relatively new to the party, has not really adventured with you, and she saw two perspectives. She saw Commander Kai, the graceful, the elegant, the person who's just trying to get things done person. And then she saw the person who got into continual arguments with Rameth, who would be constantly drinking at the inn and not... Well, what side would you have taken if you were her? The cool, conniving person who is trained in deceit, or the bashful dragon who can do a pretty light show if called for? Not saying that your magic is weak or anything of that sort, but if I was in Lilith's position, I would side with Gillian.
It may be so. It may be different from that perspective, but it does not quell the anger that I feel.
That doesn't mean the anger is just.
And I'm not telling her to leave.
Yes, but when she was making that decision, she saw your silence and made the decision at that point. It had nothing to do with anyone else. And everyone else is trying to talk to her.
If I told her I wanted her to stay, I would be insincere. If
I'm
I
not...
told her that I wanted her to come join us, I would be lying. The best I can do right now is not get involved.
The best you can do is to swallow up your pride. She may be called to go help this Church of Herathis, but you can forgive her for at least 2 hours and let out your anger on the open sea.
Forgiveness takes more time, at least for me. If it's to be genuine. If you want me to put on a show and invite her along, I think that would do more harm in the long run.
I want you to swallow your pride. You may have not gone into the tower. You may have been the first to realize. But when we pulled her out, she was almost as dead as the rest of you. We pulled you out because we needed your help. All your help. And while we may not get Lilith's help for a little while, and she needs to know that it's not her fault. It's not her fault at all. It's Kai's fault. It's Kai manipulating people. And you were with Kai longer than she was. You couldn't see past his 23 deception roll either.
I'm not saying that I would have done things differently. I am saying that from my perspective, it is difficult to forgive someone freely in this short of a time.
Then ask her to stay. Begin to repair the bridge. You don't need to forgive her yet. But you can swallow your pride.
I suppose I can ask her to stay without lying. The words will not be as convincing as Kai's words, but I'll do what I can to make them true.
Then you should go now.
Narroth is going to probably walk off, maybe a limp here and there.
Cool. You've been to her room prior to Lilith gaining consciousness, so you can head there and easily find her. I'm gonna say that you missed Astor and Zarrius, but you find Lilith walking, probably in the hallway, maybe right at the exit of the door.
Okay.
And you see her, and she hasn't noticed your presence yet, so it's up to you if you want to approach.
Narroth is probably not going to approach confidently. As he sees her walking away, he is hit by the raw well of emotions that comes with the betrayal that he feels. But as she walks farther and farther, he's going to call out to her and say, "Stop."
Yeah, Lilith hears this.
She turns and says, "Do you really want me to stop?"
Yes. I'm not going to say anything now that isn't going to be true. It may not be flowery language, but I'm not one for flowery language. You need to stop running. You need to come with us and help us.
She just looks and says, "There's a note on the bed. Read
Yeah.
that. It'll
I'm not
explain it."
one that's much for reading either. You need to come with us. We may need you to come with us too, but you definitely need to come with us. You can't run away from this. Running away will only make it worse.
She stalks back towards Narroth and says, "Run. Run? I'm not running. I have people that I care about, people that I have caused great pain to because of the things that I did, because of the things that I caused. All of this would have been mute except for me."
Yeah, you're right.
So right now, I think it's best that I leave. Because for one, it's going to cause you too much pain for me to be with you, and it's going to cause me too much pain because I'll know what I did every day. So for now, I have to go help the people that I love. I have a mother, I have friends, and I have a temple that needs me because I don't know if they can overcome the wounded king without my help.
You're treating a symptom of the problem. We're treating the cause. Well, I like you being there. I can't promise that. Will I enjoy your company? Probably not. Do we need you to do this? Yes. Do you need you to do this? Yes. You want absolution? Earn it. Stick around. At least until we leave. You've had one foot out of this group since you joined up with us. When anything goes wrong, you try and leave. You want to be square? Stop running away. Give us your all and stick with it till the end. Your actions will give you absolution.
The one time I gave my all, I brought about the end of the world.
Yep. And the people you were with are asking you to give it your all again to try to save it. Are you willing to clean up your own mess?
Let me ask you something. And I want you to be 100% truthful with me because I know you will be. In your honest opinion, do you really think that I will make that big of a difference to your success or failure?
I do. I think if we had not had you, we would be dead several times over by now. Do I enjoy that fact? Not really. But it is true.
Then I will not leave. At least until you guys do. But please, read the note. And I turn and walk away.
Narroth will nod and walk back the other way.
All right, so for clarification, where is Lilith going and where is Narroth going?
Lilith's just walking away.
To be honest, so is Narroth. Narroth is just walking in the opposite direction for dramatic effect.
You guys are just walking on the opposite ends of the camp.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
God damn it.
It's always awkward when you have that kind of conversation. You have to leave the same way. So
Okay.
Lilith's
I
probably
guess-
looking for anybody that she recognizes as well. Maybe from Tyria to see if she can get the scoop of what's going on there.
Yeah. You can find someone pretty quickly. As you look around, you take more of a view of the persona. You do notice that most of the people here are air genasi and tieflings. But you do meet with a young lady from Tyria. She's an air genasi, as air genasis tend to come from Tyria in general. Basically, she recounts a civil war between the current king, which is King Victor Creed, and his mother, whose name I can't remember, but Queen Creed we'll call her, who is currently waging civil war at each other. The churches have chosen not to pick a side in this endeavor, but they need some help getting the refugees out of the town before the two forces lay waste. King Victor Creed has a son, and who would be heir to the throne. He is currently a year old, and multiple assassination attempts on the kid were made, which has made Victor Crane, because of the nature of the wounded king, angry, and thus there's a rather bloody battle going. But that's been the extent of events for the past 6 months. Just basically civil war.
Okay.
Narroth, you wander around for a bit, and you sort of find a little patch of, we'll call it a garden per se. It's basically just a flower field, but it's not. It's kind of been left alone in the patch of the camp because no one really wants to disturb it. So like tents can be built around it, but it's kind of secluded. It's kind of out of the way. But
I think you cut off there.
He did.
Chris, I think you're lagging pretty badly right now.
okay, so you and you find a flower field that's sort of in the middle of the camp, but it's still kind of secluded. People have left this area for basically for growth. They didn't want to destroy the flower field. And you see Bryn wanders kind of meandering throughout the field, just kind of there. I mean, Narroth is kind of a not. You'll notice Narroth when he enters a room, so Bryn can take note of Narroth as well.
She'll like wave.
Narroth will nod.
You can see that whereas other people may not disturb this flower field, Bryn is absolutely doing that.
Frolicking in the flowers, quite literally, are we?
No, just picking them.
For what purpose?
She'll like produce from somewhere a little like flower crown almost that she's made out of twigs and flowers and things that she's found around.
Narroth will smile despite himself. You made a flowery crown.
Yep. I always kind of liked crowns.
That one seems lighter than most to bear.
You're not wrong, and there's a reason for that too. It's funny how crowns really don't serve any purpose. Except to look pretty, of course.
I agree.
But those who, when you see a crown on somebody's head, you know that they're the best person in all that they can see. That goes doubly so for the person wearing it. They know they should be the best.
Oh, through the eyes of children, Narroth kind of laughs. Unfortunately, when I see a crown, I see someone who has an ego, the best that anyone can see.
She like laughs and comes up towards you, like picking a flower here or two there on the way over. An ego, you say?
Yes.
Oh, when I was walking around, wandering about the continent, every once in a while I'd make myself a little crown like this. Just so I could be the best person in all that I could see. Or at least fake it.
Well, if anyone fakes it as well as you can, I have not met them.
I think it's important to fake it every once in a while. You'll never be better than you are now unless if you pretend every once in a while.
Just be careful who you pretend to be. You end up becoming that person.
Exactly. So if you wear a crown and pretend to be better than you are, you might just turn better than you are.
Narroth will kind of chuckle. You are wiser than most rulers I have met. He's going to laugh and do a half bow, Your Highness.
As he like bows down, she giggles for a second and then places the crown on top of Narroth's head. How about you just try being better?
Better than what?
That's up for you to decide. And then she'll like turn around and start skipping away. Oh, and Narroth?
Sorry? Yeah?
Keep hold of that for me. I don't know if the flowers where we're going are going to smell as sweet. And then she'll turn and keep skipping away.
Narroth is just going to stare dumbstruck at this ridiculous kid walking away.
Skipping
away.
DM was like, I gotta design the flowers now. Cool. Astor and Zarrius will make their way back to Mild Miles.
And see that he is the only one in the room.
He's just as confused as you are.
Well, Astor will speak up first and say, where did he go?
Ross hopefully went to be a better person.
Huh. Well, good for him, I guess. I do have an important question for you, Miles.
Yes. By the way, the boat leaves in about an hour and a half.
Okay. How is Lana doing? From what I've seen, it seems like a lot of time has gone by, and I am rather concerned. I may not show it because I'm physically exhausted, but I'm concerned.
She is upset, but maybe Bryn knows a little more about that than I do.
Astor kind of puts his right hand, the palm of his right hand, up to his forehead, gives a sigh, and says, "Can't say I blame her. I mean, that was honestly the most important question I had at the moment, so I'll kind of just sit down and recuperate some more right now." And at this point, Astor does go to a chair and just sits down.
So, Mild Miles, what exactly do you want us to do once we reach there? Besides being diplomats, do we need to do anything specific?
Well, first things first is that there are, well, Zarrius, this is going to be your moment to step up. This land is filled with tieflings, and you being a tiefling yourself, you actually proved to be the best representative to represent this party as we go forward. Because the other tiefling tends to skip through flower fields instead of actually pay attention.
I've noticed.
So people are going to be definitely confused of someone like Astor, but they're going to accept with open arms. So you get to be the front person. I will provide you some information on these things. I have a couple documents that you can read when you're on the boat.
Okay.
But the short of it is that there are 3 houses that you need to attend to.
All right.
And then these 3 houses hold the major power of it. I will also include a map in these letters, but we're sending you to the land of House Collins. They're known mainly for the olive oil and wine, but you are going to make the choice to either approach King Trifton Collins to see if you can get him for aid, or you're going to approach a man named Davik who runs the casino there. That is where we are starting, and hopefully we can get their aid. And then after that, you'll go to the other 2 houses and try to obtain their aid, but each place is going to require a different tactic.
Okay.
This place also has frost dwarves living in the mountains. We are unsure how they are going to be affected by the Wounded King, so we also have to be careful of that.
Careful as in we should go check on that? Question mark.
Well, potentially. You use your judgments.
Okay. Other than that, is that the gist of the endeavor?
Yeah, so out of character from a meta perspective, what we're going to do is before we reach the next area, we're going to do a quote unquote flashback, where the party, hopefully we'll say the whole party eventually, or at least Astor, Zarrius, and Narroth, who is probably heading back at this point, will flash back to the scene where Mild Miles is explaining the situation, and then you'll be able to ask questions that are present. I mean, we could do that all now, but I think that's an information bog. I think if we do this flashback sort of thing, it'll be better for the players to get a sense of things. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So, the next half hour or so could be you guys asking questions out of, that we'll role play at a later date.
Okay.
Unless you want my 15 pages of notes right now on
No,
all the
thank you.
cultures. Okay.
No, thank you.
Perfect. We have about an hour and a half, but I do have some gifts for you to take on your way. At this point, we can fast forward and say Narroth and Bryn and Lilith, if she wants to be there, could be there, in the room.
Perfect. Narroth is wearing a crown of flowers.
Well, as soon as Bryn walks in, Astor does want to talk to her.
Well, Miles would be in the middle of the discussion right now. Are you going to interrupt him?
I'll wait till it's done.
Okay, so Miles, over the course of the discussion, is going to give the party a healing kit. 4 minor healing potions, 2 potions of lesser healing, 1 potion of healing. I will write this out for you after the session.
Okay,
Ring of jumping, a ring of water walking, eyes of the eagle, chime of opening, wand of enemy detection, wing boots, and then 2 stones. The stones will work as you can hand the stone to one person, they can say the magic words and teleport to the other stone. And we'll make a list of this at a later time so we can pass it out, not on stream.
Okay.
But you guys probably won't be able to do that to learn what they are until after you're on the boat anyway, so it won't matter too much.
Cool.
Yeah, it says you have some time to kill, but we need you guys back here in an hour so we can walk over to the boat.
Okay. At this point, Astor turns towards Bryn and says, Bryn, I have a question for you. Maybe
Answer.
several, depending on what happens. I want to know how Lana is doing. Miles here said that you would know better about her than he does.
She's doing okay.
He said she was upset. There's no way she's okay.
Oh, physically she's okay.
Oh, so, okay, that's all fine and good. I just want to know a little bit more about her because apparently a lot of time has gone by. So,
Well, yeah. After a few weeks waiting outside of the tower, she got a little bit concerned about you guys. And it was actually Lana that went to Randall about you guys all going in. So really, you should thank her.
I plan to.
Yeah, she after that she came and found me, and yeah, I think that's pretty much all caught up. She's been pretty down lately.
Oh, why is that?
Well, I mean, her fiance isn't with her. It's been, half a year since she's seen you. At least in a not dying way.
Ugh. Yeah, don't remind me. What was I going to ask? I mean, is there anything particularly important about her physically that I do need to know?
Oh yeah, the whole baby thing?
Wait, what?
The baby.
You can see Astor has a pretty shocked face.
She's pregnant.
Actually, you can kind of see Astor's gears just stopped.
Is everybody else in the room too? Are we still in the room?
Oh yeah, we're listening.
We're
in.
all listening.
At this point, Astor just does a quick shake of his head and he said, "Oh shit."
Narroth is going to give him a huge pat on the back. Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Wait a second. I just remembered something. Hey, Bryn, was there ever a time where you were with Lana trying to just get away from enemy forces and you randomly wound up being able to fly away? I apologize if that sounds really strange.
Her eyes widen when you say it. And she's like, yes! Yes, it was awesome. We were in Myron and surrounded, like you said. The people there aren't too fond of tieflings, I gotta say. And yeah, didn't look too good for us. And just sprouted wings and started flying away.
At this point, Astor turns towards Narroth, takes several quick steps until he's about arm's length away, puts a hand on each shoulder, looks him square in the eye, and says, again, thank you so very much.
Narroth just nods and looks back.
Astor takes his hands off Narroth's shoulder, turns back towards Bryn, and says, well, thank you for telling me about that. I guess I'm glad I asked.
Yeah, that was a month and a half, 2 months. I don't know. It was a few months ago, maybe. But we were on our way back to the tower. And yeah.
I'm just glad things worked out. I need a sit. And Astor kind of just collapses onto a chair.
Miles hands you water.
Thank you. He drinks it.
Yeah, she's somewhere around 8 months now.
He spills the water out, spits the water out. Huh?
Baby's coming soon.
Sorry, Miles. Can I have another glass of water?
He goes into his desk and pulls out a bottle of whiskey.
Yes.
Astor takes it. Doesn't down the whole thing. That would be a terrible idea. But he does take what he knows would be a shot.
Like a swig, or like he pours in a glass?
Is the
Straight-
bottle already opened?
Yeah.
Takes a swig.
Okay.
She's not here. Just to let you know.
Where is she? Where is she?
She looks towards Miles. It's like, I think you know better where she is than I do. I know a general area.
You guys remember Killian? He's the drow, not Killian, Kieran. Kieran, he is the drow druid who you guys met for a little bit before you went to the Shadowfell.
At that point, Astor stands up quickly and kind of sways momentarily. What about him?
We sent Lana with him into the cave to help with the birthing process, since Kieran has strong enough will to resist the effects of the Wounded King. We figured it was the safest spot.
Well, I'll trust the judgment of one of the people that saved my life just recently, I suppose.
Yeah, we met him on a fluke, but he's been a tremendous help.
Yeah, last time I saw him, he was in a coma.
Oh, he recovered.
Good. That's good to hear.
He's very much retired now. He's just been doing some healing work for us.
Very respectable career, I'd say.
Well, I'm assuming he would rather be alone after all this crap is over.
Fair.
But yes, Lana's safe. Kieran will, quote, come out of retirement if anything tries to harm her.
Plus, she's got her bow with her. Astor, can I talk to you outside? She looks over at Narroth and Zarrius, who are intently listening to this entire conversation.
Oh, yes, let's do that. He takes a second swig from the bottle of whiskey and then steps outside.
As they leave the building, Lilith is coming back towards it.
All right, you see the scenario.
Bryn will grab the bottle of whiskey as Astor goes outside.
Oh, I wasn't taking it, but okay.
No, I'm taking it.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Lilith.
Hi.
Bryn will grab Astor's hand and take him around the backside of the building, away from earshot.
Astor follows.
Okay, I didn't want to say this in front of everybody else. It's she probably needs you. Really bad.
You can see Astor just kind of starts to ponder deeply.
I know we've worked really hard to get Lilith to come back, but I spent some time with Lana, and she was in a bad shape without you, especially thinking that you may be dead.
That does make sense.
Plus, giving birth and all that. It can't be easy for her right now.
Yeah, that does make sense.
She let me know that before you guys went into the tower and stuff, you were having some issues. We don't need to talk about that or anything, but she's been very hurt for a while now. A long while.
I'm sure. Yeah, I definitely owe her a lot right now. Just thank you for telling me, but give me a moment to kind of let everything sink in. I feel like my world flipped upside down and then did a whole nother 360 on top of that, so that was not fun.
Okay, she hands him the bottle of whiskey.
He looks at the bottle wistfully and takes a third swig.
Oh, and one more thing. And she'll, stand up on her tippy toes and then just whisper a name into his ear and then take off.
Well, I don't know what expression he'll make, but we'll do that later. Astor's going to take a little bit of time to kind of mull over everything that was just said and then walk back to the rest of the group.
All right. Well, did Lilith wait outside, or did Lilith walk in?
She's sort of standing at the door, not knowing whether or not she wants to go in.
Well, Bryn can.
I can make that decision for you. What are you still doing outside?
I don't even know why I'm here.
You're here because we need you. And she grabs Lilith's hand and walks her in with her. Look who I found.
Lilith.
Astor can come in right behind her this one.
All right. He puts the whiskey bottle back on Miles's desk.
Miles hands it to Lilith.
No more drinking.
Miles hands it to Narroth.
Narroth shrugs and takes a swig.
So glad you were able to make it back.
Likewise.
Well, somebody told me something. And kind of resonated. I'm still not going with you. But I will stay and see you off. And then maybe if I can get this trouble with whatever's going on in Tyria dealt with, and make sure my family's safe, then maybe I can join you.
That would be amazing.
Yay!
Wow.
Okay. At this point, I personally would like to fast forward to maybe 10 minutes of getting on the boat.
Okay.
Unless you guys particularly want a scene.
Narroth is going to grab that letter first.
Okay. Are you gonna read the letter at this point?
Probably not.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
Nope.
Not from my end.
Okay, well, I'm gonna do this for you, Astor. You find Dev.
Oh,
She's
that's right.
She's
Suddenly
currently
she's there.
in. She's. You sort of wander for a bit, and you see her in the kitchen eating fruit for like an hour straight.
Well, just for the sake of this tiny scene, Astor says, "Huh, I don't know what else I would have imagined you doing right now."
You hear in your head in a muffled voice because of food.
I'm sorry, what?
She swallows. Time to go.
Well, about that, yes and no, I guess. Just so you know, my plans will probably differ from the group's for a little bit.
Oh yes, we're going to Lana, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Time to go to Lana.
Oh, did you hear the conversation in my head?
I mean, I've been awake for like 24 hours. I've learned things.
Ah. Astor kind of just shakes his head absentmindedly and says, "Well, before we actually take off, I do want to see everybody else off, just because it feels right. But yes, we will be going."
Okay. You see her like take a bunch of apples and like stuff it in random parts of her clothing because she doesn't actually own any bags.
Astor kind of grabs a few more of whatever she got and puts it wherever he can as well.
And you see her like take an apple and she eats like the entirety of it, core, stem, and all.
Astor grabs one more.
Okay. And now we can fast forward.
Yes.
All right. So about 40 minutes passes by and you guys are directed by Miles to head north for a little bit to basically make it to the coast. They have a small house going on and a small house there, and they have a mage there that will help basically turn the ship invisible to help you get out to sea. And then when you get out to sea, she'll be able to make the ship reappear, and everything will be on as normal. You are set to meet two people who are assumingly the ship's captain and first mate. You are to meet a woman named Yvette. She is supposedly very young, but she has somehow resists the magic of the Wounded King. And you're supposed to meet an orc named Groken Mandarin. Now he's an orc, but he also took some of the elements of the earth elemental plane, so he's technically an earth genasi as well. His name is Groken Mankin, but he calls himself Phillip because the orc name is rather intimidating to most people.
Phillip.
Phillip. And they should be arriving as well, but you'll probably get there first. But you guys are given directions, and the five of you can head out that way when you're ready.
Now, are we all together right now, or we're going to meet there?
I'm assuming you guys would walk there. I mean,
Yeah.
together.
I would
Maybe
be.
awkwardly, but you still
Skip.
walk there. Sorry, skip that.
Skip to my. Sorry. Who's carrying all the items that Miles gave out earlier?
Miles would have given it to Zarrius.
Okay. So while they're walking, Astor actually goes up next to Zarrius and tells him, "Hey, so you know those two stones that Miles says that one can go to the other if they're separated away?
Yes,
Give me one, please."
of course. And I reach into my invisible bag that you don't see on my character, and I struggle to pull out this stone because of my lack of strength.
I mean, it's like the size of your fist. It's not like a giant rock.
He
Still,
still struggles.
I struggle,
Okay.
and I'm like struggling to hand it to Astor, so hopefully he grabs it from me sooner than later before I drop it.
He gets it. And once he has the stone in his hand, as we're all still walking, he takes a couple of steps further ahead, turns around, and stops real quick. And he says, as some of you may be assuming, I'm going to actually take a little time away. I need to be with Lana as much for her sake as for mine. I, like Lilith, actually need to take a little time, kind of center myself, if you will, because I feel if I just go with you all now as I am, I will very likely be more of a burden than a boon. So I hope you all can forgive me, but for a little bit of time I will be away. But as soon as I'm able, I will use this stone, and he holds it up, to return to you as soon as possible. I hope you all forgive me and don't mind me for being away for just a little bit.
Bye.
Of course not. You need to take care of your wife, your fiance, or wife if you're married. I'm not too sure.
Well, that
you
and
need to take care of her.
yeah, I mean, that and I will need to inevitably brave the storm known as Lana Shakespeare as well. So I will actually ask for some luck.
So that's hilarious. Out of character. You know that the boat trip's gonna take you about 3 to 4 weeks, depending on how lucky you are with the wind. And Lana's 8 weeks pregnant, so you shouldn't actually miss Astor a terrible amount,
Okay.
assuming he uses the sun.
Right.
Okay. After he says that, he kind of falls back into pace with the group to go to where this boat is or whatever the ship.
Shipboat.
Yeah, that.
I'm going to stick the stone inside of that upper part of my staff that's kind of wound, so that way I know for sure I will never lose it.
And as you do that, the branch of Obad-hai sort of engulfs the stone ever so slightly. You can still see it in there, but it's entrenched per se.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, as Astor sees that happen, he says, I know I don't need to tell you this, but don't lose your staff.
That will not be happening.
Well, if he
Okay,
does, you
great.
can bring it back to him.
Damn, that's a good point.
That's really a good point.
Sarah's try not to lose the staff anyways, but if it does happen, I'll help. I just really hope I'm not, like, in the mouth of a dragon, so to speak.
Uh-huh.
Or on its way out.
Or that.
Possibilities, man.
I
Endless.
really don't want to think about that.
Anyways.
Yes, let us be on our half merry way.
So I take it we get to the shipping area.
Lilith, as they approach, she says, this is where we part ways. Know that I am sorry but I think we all could use some time apart. As I said, I need to do some things, but maybe one day we will see each other again. And with that, she turns into a giant eagle and flies away.
Flies up first, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye, Lilith.
I guess she doesn't want that silver.
It was nice to meet you.
All right. So the rest of the party, we're gonna assume you guys make it pretty close to the boathouse before Lilith goes away. You guys arrive there and you see a boathouse as well as a boat. You see a couple people working on the boat, but you see two fairly heavily armed guards as well as a skinny looking woman right in front of the boathouse. Bryn, you do not recognize these people.
Oh,
And you would have met the crew by this point who would be taking you there. These people appear human. Beyond Yvette, the human like co-captain, your whole ship is basically tieflings and genasi as one warforged. I have just decided.
and these three people are human?
These three people are human, and two of them are heavily armored.
Hi, are you new here?
He's like, "Oh yes, we are here to try to get on the ship. We are here to help escorts. We are your protection, your shield, your sword in the night."
That's weird, because we're the sword in the night.
So two of these guards, they're wearing like royal heavy plate armor. This is what you see kings wear. But you also see their skin and that sort of thing, and they are heavily scarred as well. One of them is wielding a glaive, the other one's wielding a greatsword. The woman in the back does not appear to have any weapons, but she steps forward and goes, "Oh, I think we are supposed to be on this ship. This is our ship. We are here to escort you."
I'm gonna roll insight.
Roll high.
Okay. A critical.
You asked for it.
You've seen a couple of these types of people since you've been there. You see a glint in her eye that is kind of purplish in color. She is a mind flayer. These two guys in front of her are mind controlled, and you see the crew that's on the ship behind her also appear to be under effect of mind control.
The crew I recognize.
The crew you recognize.
Okay.
Yes. We are going to go into the battle map now. For those of you who don't know, this is going to be our new aesthetic from now on. So Danny Allinson made me these tokens. This symbol right here on the boat signifies NPCs. And we have 4 other symbols for different types of characters. This one is going to be for mages, and this one is going to be for melee fighter types. And we have one for support characters and one for tanks, quote unquote. So we're changing it to that aesthetic. This is going to be our general map aesthetic. We got the rights for this, so this will be exciting. I think it looks pretty cool in my opinion, and it was very easy to make.
That's good. Anyways, Bryn is going to go ahead and put her hand on her pistol and then cock the hammer back.
I'm going to say Lilith can fly up there, and because you have the eagle's perception, you can probably see what's going on. That like there's tension there and something's going on. So Lilith can choose to join the fight if she chooses.
Okay.
or at least watch for a little bit.
For right now, I'm just circling above.
Okay. What do you want to do, Bryn? Or what does everyone want to do?
Well, when Astor sees the tension, he just, in his head telepathically to Dab says, "Hey, I think I might need you," and kind of implying that he wants her in, possibly ready to be into weapon form.
This sounds like combat. Why don't we roll some initiative?
Oh damn! Poor Dab. In my case,
I'll take the 15.
I'll take the 23.
thanks, John. I appreciate your ha ha ha.
Think. Is that everyone?
Nope. My character sheet's taking a second.
Oh, no worries.
There it is.
Okay, so I actually named these guys, but we didn't actually get to the naming part in the story. Gerald is one of the knights. His name is Gerald because he wields a glaive. This guy is Stefan. He is called Stefan because he wields a sword. And this is Maya in the back because she's a mind flayer. Any questions?
Nope.
Okay.
No.
Nah.
So immediately because the mind flayer can read minds, as soon as you realize what it is, she unleashes her disguise. I'm going to make a point. You also hear movement in this house. So keep that in mind as you blow things up. And yeah, this is combat. Remember our descriptors and how we're doing things now.
Sure.
And Bryn.
Is it my turn? Is that a yes?
Yes, it's your turn.
Okay. So Bryn cocks back the hammer on her pistol and says, I think you should just leave. And that's effectively Bryn holding her action until one of them makes any sort of threatening move, whether that's drawing a sword or coming closer to her or anything like that.
Okay. This guy draws a glaive.
All right, so Bryn will go ahead and take that cue. And
this uses your reaction to be able to do this.
Yeah, I know. So she's standing there just waiting for them to do something, and then as soon as he reaches for the sword, she draws, and it's quick, but by the time he puts his hand on the blade, you already hear the shot go off. And then I'll go ahead and roll. This is an attack on Geralt. Wrong gun, sorry. There, that one.
That's a solid hit.
Cool. I'm gonna go ahead and take. So that happens. She then spins her gun forward, and as she does so, she gets another. As it spins like back into place, she puts her thumb in the way of the hammer to cock it back again, and she'll go ahead and shoot another one at the same guy.
Um, 17 will miss.
I think Bryn's feeling a little lucky right now.
Okay.
So do I re-roll or do use the 27? Okay.
That hits.
Sweet. And then she's gonna go ahead, after getting those two shots off, she's gonna run away a little bit. To about right here. As she passes by Zarrius and Narroth, she says, have fun with them, and then turns on the dime basically right here and gets, because of crossbow expert, gets one last shot off. And this one is actually going to be on Stefan.
That also.
I didn't do it yet. There it is.
No, that does not hit.
Alright. And that's going to be it for Bryn's turn.
So Gerald here is going to see the threat, and realize he can't catch up to Bryn, so he's going to go attack Astor. Astor can have his shield out at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's no Blade Song.
Where is Astor
Right.
located? He's not on the hex technically. I was just okay.
I guess I'm just one square off of the actual thing.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
And he is going to swing at you twice.
Jesus. Oh, I can't even see the die.
Oh, black is not a good color for this.
Yeah, but anyway, they both miss.
He's going to make his third attack because he has a...
Well then,
which also probably misses.
yes.
White is also a better color.
Did it come out better?
Yes.
Much better.
Okay, cool. And, well, I'm sad, but that's his turn. Narroth.
Now, earlier you described Maya transformed into, like, revealed her true form as a mind flayer. What does that look like visually?
Okay, so, Narroth will recognize the spell as an alter self spell, because I believe she's used it before. But this normally unpresuming girl, she was wearing like traveler's clothing. She was young. She sort of snaps her fingers for a split second, and robes appear from where she was. She obtains the 4 tentacles of the normal mind flayer, as well as the eye sockets. But normally they have their hood up. Hers is laid back, and she pulls out a spell book of some sort.
I see. So normal, unassuming girl becomes a giant tentacle monster. I'm going to go ahead and concentrate on Maya. Narroth is going to cast a Maximilian's Earthen Grasp and doing it with the enhanced spell. So she's going to... I'm going to make a attack on her strength defense.
She is going to counterspell at the 3rd level.
Okay. In that case, I'm going to walk backwards.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
You see her, she sees you casting a spell, and she quickly opens up her spell book and points at you, and a little white energy affects you. And as the spell words were coming out, you feel the magic sort of decease.
Ruh-roh.
Lilith, you can use your movement to enter the map and resume your normal form, or I guess you can stay as an eagle as well. But it'll take your movement basically to arrive wherever you want to on the map, within reason. I mean,
Okay. Well, an eagle has an 80 fly speed. So, what do you want? How do you want to work that? I have an 80 fly speed.
I'm gonna say you can enter the map and have 15 feet of movement in any direction.
Okay.
But you can enter the map on any square that's on the right of the map, basically.
Okay, so this is what I am going to do. Lilith is going to come down over here on top of the house over here. And I believe it's a bonus action to resume my form.
Can't you just get rid of the concentration?
Oh yeah, I can do that. I just drop the concentration, resume my form, and then I am going to walk the 5 foot to the edge of the house. I am going to grasp along my holy symbol, and I am going to say, by the power of Arethus, I smite thee. And my hands are going to go up in the air. And I call down a 40-foot column of blue flame that sort of has it. It's 40 foot tall, 20 foot wide. I'm going to put it right, center it right here, so that way it doesn't hit the boat, but it hits those guys. I think that's where it was.
Cool. So it's gonna hit everyone but Gerald, correct?
Yes.
Cool. Perfect. Roll it.
And I'm basically casting Flame Strike.
Oh, wow.
That's against their
Nice.
dex defense.
Cool. And can you roll one more time against one of the other ones?
It's both right there.
Okay, so the Mind Flare has magic resistance, so that would still hit it. So I still need you to roll one more time for Stefan.
I can't use both of those rolls for... Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just going to cast it again. Just take the first damage.
Sure. That's
Dex defense.
yeah, that will miss, but it'll take half damage. It's okay. You did the good damage on the one that needs it. Cool. Anything else?
Nope. Because I don't have my feet yet.
Cool. Astor.
Okay, so at this point, what Astor does is he does a very slight wave with the sword that he has in the right hand, and you see it glow for a very short time. It has a very light red color, which is him activating Blade Song. And what he's going to do, which will provoke attack of opportunity. If I can move him. There. He's going to move there. So attack of opportunity from Gerald. That's going to hit.
$17 damage.
Okay. And then what he's going to do is he's going to attack Maya twice. So what's going to happen is he's going to swing from top right to the bottom left, and depending on whether he hits or not, something may happen. So I'll go ahead and roll for the attack. And he is holding a long sword, just so you know. Whew, definitely not. And then what he's going to do is essentially quickly flip the sword over. Well, he's not going to flip the sword, but he's going to rotate his hand so that the blade is facing back, and he's just going to follow the exact same path from bottom left to top right, and he's going to try and attack a second time. Wow, no luck.
As you do this, Stefan right here is going to use his Sentinel feat and make a strike at you using his reaction.
Gotcha. I saw a roll from the 6 to the 14. That's going to hit.
Okay, cool. Take 19 damage. And that'll be his reaction, so go ahead and finish your turn.
So I did 1, 2, 3, No, that's Astor's turn.
Zarrius.
Okay. I'm going to run over here. I'm going to move over here so I avoid any attacks of opportunities. And then I'm going to move right here. I'm going to attack Stephen with my staff. Only after I use my bonus action to cast Shillelagh on my staff. So my staff is now magical, and it gives me a little bit extra damage, which is nice. And I'm going to take my staff and take the bottom root section and kind of try to bash at him at his legs with it.
$12 will miss.
Okay. And then I'm going to move away from him and move over here. And since he's already used his reaction, he can't take an attack of opportunity. Is that correct? Or
That's correct.
Okay, perfect. So I would like to do the same exact thing that I did with Stephen on Maya. I'm going to take my staff and I'm going to probably go around the other side so as not to hit anyone on the way. And I'm going to attack her with Shillelagh with advantage.
That hits.
Perfect. So 11 damage there. And then since I attack different people, my staff gives me a special ability that allows me to attack a third target. So I'm going to attack her again with Shillelagh.
I'll hit.
Perfect. And on this one, I'd like to try a stunning strike.
Okay, roll it.
So a 22 against the con defense. Or is it a 28? I don't know.
This would be a 22.
Okay.
Yeah, that succeeds. She's
Okay. And then my last little part of my turn is I'm going to take my whip in my hand and I'm going to throw it and kind of touch Stephen with it and see if I can weaken the target.
do it. Okay, he is going to force you to re-roll it with the indomitable trait.
Okay.
And so he 13 will not his con defense.
Okay.
And in return,
And that'll be the end of my turn.
Stephen is sad. Maya is dead. But Stephen can still move over here and get the flank. And he's going to attack you, Astor, 3 times. First attack.
I mean, he doesn't get the bonus because she's stunned, right?
No, I think you can still flank with a stun target.
It's got to be a threatening target, and a stun target can't be threatening.
It's incapacitated.
All right, we'll count it as a second attack.
Damn. All right.
And we'll do the third attack.
Oof. 2 and 3 hit.
Okay, so the crit is going to do this. And the non-crit's going to do this.
I would like to react to his action, or to his damage.
Do it.
And I'd like to do a monk special. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pound my fist together and I'm going to slam on the floor. And what's essentially going to happen is I'm going to send shockwaves down underneath the ground to uproot Earth to kind of block some damage using my deflect missiles with impenetrable iron tortoiseshell. And I will cast that for you right now.
Whew.
And you gain 23 HP. You don't take 23 of that HP.
Wow.
Oh,
Take
Thank
a
you.
damage.
10 bonus to that? Oh, plus monk level. Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice. All right. Go Zarrius.
Yeah, and he rolled high.
Yay, Zarrius.
And Astor is bloodied.
Ooh,
Okay.
Astor.
That's going to be his turn. Top of the round, you see these NPC, basically ship workers, seem to be coming towards you guys. But Bryn, you're up.
All right, Bryn is going to run around the backside of Narroth and tap him on his right shoulder as she does so. She's going to take a kneeling position then there and pull out her rifle and take a shot at Gerald. And I'm actually going to do a trick shot here. Here, I'll just do that. So if I hit, then I have to do a strength attack. And if I hit that, then he's knocked prone.
Roll it.
So here's the regular attack first. Ooh.
That will not hit.
Okay. In that case, she's going to go ahead and slam the lever forward on her lever action rifle, ejecting the shell from it. And she kind of bumps the shell with the stock of her gun, like in Narroth's face, and then shoots again at Gerald.
Come on, man.
Oh my god.
That also doesn't hit. I don't think ranged weapons are your thing.
Apparently not. Hey, I hit the first couple. Alright, rifle's not working, so she'll go ahead and holster that, and I'm going to action surge.
Okay.
And then she's going to do 3 quick shots like a fan the hammer with her pistol against Gerald.
How much ammo you have in your pistol?
This is it. This is it.
Okay. Roll it.
There's the first one.
That hits.
Second.
That hits.
And the last one.
That
Misses.
misses.
Alright.
Still 21 damage.
Yeah, she fans the hammer there, spins it around the back, and then unloads the spent cartridges onto the floor. And that's her turn.
Okay. Gerald doesn't like that. He's gonna walk up here. He's gonna take 2 attacks on Bryn and 1 on Narroth. We'll do the Narroth one first.
17 hits.
And then take the second attack on Bryn. I think I have disadvantage.
Okay.
Is that
Yes.
close?
Yeah. You do.
Okay. 12 hit.
No.
Okay, do I continually have disadvantage? Until I hit?
Until you hit.
Cloak of displacement.
Yeah.
14.
That misses.
He spits at you.
Fair enough.
Which probably misses.
Probably.
It misses. That's his turn. Narroth, your turn.
All right. Did you get my message?
Yeah, I just responded.
Okay, in that case, Narroth is going to use erupting earth in a 20-foot square. It's going to look like this.
You got it.
So it's going to hit Stephen, Astor, and Maya. I'm going to use a careful spell on this one so that Astor has advantage against my attack on his his dexterity defense. Unfortunately, since Maya is stunned, she automatically fails dexterity saving throws.
You got it. Roll it.
The first one's going to be on Maya, the second one on Astor, and the third one on Stephen.
Got it. Well, so Maya fails because of the thing.
Yep.
Thirteen
Yes.
won't hit Astor's dex defense, right?
Correct.
But that'll hit this guy's.
Oh, dude. And if he's going to go down, if there's any way I can make that non-lethal damage, that'd be fantastic.
He's not going down from this attack.
Okay, good.
Okay.
That is his turn.
Sorry, how much damage am I taking?
0.
Oh, that's right. Never mind.
Cool. End of turn.
End of turn.
Lilith.
Okay, so how tall is this building?
It's 2 stories.
So how high up am I? Am I 30 feet within the square to this hex of Astor?
So you're 20 feet. I would allow it.
Okay, so then what Lilith does is she grabs upon her holy symbol, and you see she goes by the spirit of Arathis, and you see a projection of herself erupt from her form, and it appears next to Astor. I'm using my channel divinity. Then I am going to touch Astor and hit him with a level 3 healing word.
Got it. Nice.
Oh, he's actually no, he's not blooded anymore. Never mind.
Is that the turn?
That is my turn.
Astor.
All right. Well, he's going to try this again. He's going to continue focusing on Maya, and he will actually this time swing horizontally from right to left and see if that hits. Okay.
Hits.
And what he's going to do is, well, what's going to happen is as soon as he makes contact with Maya's body, you see the red sword turn instantly white, and you kind of see some of that white energy residual kind of be left on Maya after he swings through, and it's going to be a divine smite with a 4th level spell slot.
Oh, Jesus. Bloodied.
Cool. And actually, let me take this off real quick. He is going to, just like last time, flip his wrist and do a second attack going from left to right.
That hits.
And he's actually going to do two things this time. He's going to do Divine Smite as with a 3rd level spell slot, as well as adding a Defensive Flourish, which is his skill as a College of the Swords Bard.
Roll damage first. You gotta be kidding me.
No.
How do you want to kill it?
Oh,
Did 2 more damage than how much HP it had. It could have potentially gone to turn.
oh man. Well, so what happens is Astor is going to, as he's swinging back, the sword does the same thing where it turns white, and all he's doing is just following the trail that he left behind on the previous slash. And what's going to happen at this point is Maya is going. The white energy that he slashes through is going to spread through her whole body, and she's just going to explode divinely.
She explodes divinely.
At this point, Astor wheels around, and he wants to see whether or not the guy right behind him is still looking to attack him.
He appears to be mind controlled still.
Dang. Alright.
End of turn?
No, actually. He's going to use Healing Word on himself as a bonus action. He says heal, and a blue light goes from his throat, and it just spreads through his body over the course of like half a second, and he's going to heal with a 3rd level Healing Word.
Okay. Roll that and roll your AC increase too.
Cool. Heals 10, AC increases by 4.
What's his AC nowadays?
24.
Jesus. Alright, cool.
I still have to use Shield of Faith, but that won't happen today.
You probably don't need it. Zarrius.
Okay, I'm going to run around to the back of Steven, which uses 5 of my movement. And I'm going to flank with Astor and take my staff, and this time I'm going to take the pointy end and I'm going to kind of like jab at him with it.
Do it.
Shillelagh. A 22 hit?
Yep.
Okay, I'd like to start a stunning strike on him.
Roll it.
Against con defense.
He is going to succeed.
Okay. And I'm not going to be able. Okay, question. Out of character. Are these guys over here on a ship? So I'm not. Is that raised off the ground?
Yeah. Something to note is they appear to be civilians. They're not. They don't have weapons or anything like that.
Okay.
Probably
Okay.
kill these guys before I get a chance to do anything with them. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna move here and attack this guy, Gerald. Is it? Yes.
yeah. So he's going to attack you
Okay, that's fine.
because he has.
That misses.
I have disadvantage, but that's fine. There you go.
Thank you. And I'm gonna try and do the same thing that I did with Steven and take the tip the pointy side of my sword and just poke him with it.
Got it.
Why did I say sword? My staff.
That misses.
Wow. Well, because my staff gives me an extra attack, I will attack them one more time. Since I hit 2 different targets.
Chip. That awesome. Oh, 24 hits. My bad.
24 hits, perfect. And as a bonus action, I will take my fist and slam it into him.
That's
Perfecto. And that will be the end of my turn.
okay. Maya's dead. Steven is still up. Steven's gonna beat on Astor. 3 attacks on Astor.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
I'll miss.
Because of your right.
Yep.
So
What
you
happens-
see.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you can describe it.
Well, what I was going to say is each time that Steven makes a strike, you see Astor just easily slap the weapon aside with his sword, and then for the last one, he just kind of brushes it aside with the shield.
He's upset. He's mind controlled. He's not upset. But if he wasn't mind controlled, he'd be upset. DM is upset. Let's be real.
That's fair.
All right, top of the round. This NPC gets off the boat, and then these guys are moving closer. Bryn.
Okay, so Gerald came and attacked Bryn, but her cloak of displacement, basically, like when he swung his sword at her, it would like pass through her body, but the image of her would like flicker out of place, and then she'd be somewhere else. So that happened twice, and after the second one, she actually appears like standing up with her rifle against his arm, basically, and I hope I actually hit this shot. Hey!
Thank God. Yeah, you hit the shot.
And just blows out a chunk of his his shoulder after that. And then she'll move the rifle back into its holster on her back and reload her pistol.
Okay.
Reload her pistol with 6 fire.
6 fire. Perfect. Gerald is going to second wind as a bonus action. And then 1 attack on Zarrius, 1 on Narroth, and 1 on Bryn. So Zarrius, Narroth, and Bryn. 16 hit you, Bryn. 24 hit you, Zarrius.
Yes.
No.
12 does not hit Narroth.
Nope.
15 damage, Zarrius.
Okay.
Narroth.
All right. Narroth is going to look a little bit farther forward and see that some of the villagers are going to come up from behind and tell me, is there a way that I can do a non-lethal spell? Specify that a spell's damage be non-lethal.
So, let's talk about non-lethal for a second. Like, you can technically class a non-lethal fireball, but you're still burning the corpse. It just burns the corpse instead of engulfing the corpse. Does that make sense? So, like, it's still bad. It's just not as bad. But non-lethally can still potentially injure someone for life.
Okay. Just as long as it's not lethal.
God damn it. Go ahead.
All right, so Narroth is going to see some people coming up, and he's going to basically go into the ground and push up a almost like a snowy sandcastle that's going to shoot like a turret ballista at the villagers coming off the boat. And this is going to be a snowball storm. doing cold damage to the these 3 villagers here.
Is it hitting anyone else?
This one. Nope.
Okay.
And this is being cast a level 4 spell. 4. So that was for the first one. Do you mind if I roll again for the next?
So, is this half damage on a miss?
Yes.
Okay, so they're all gonna get knocked out.
Okay.
So we'll just make that easy. They're not dead, but they're snowball pelted.
Hopefully cold.
Snowballs. Oh, it's cold. Okay.
It's wintertime. Makes sense to me.
And as a bonus action, as he's seeing the fury of flying swords up front, he's going to cast his Stone Aegis on Bryn Wanders.
Okay.
Ooh.
And what that looks like for Bryn, who hasn't seen it yet, is Bryn's armor gets a little dusty, like it's made of stone that's been just really well chiseled out, and everything goes a little bit gray. And I think that's going to be it for Narroth's turn.
Okay.
What bonus does that provide me?
That gives you an increase to health. So that's going to be any bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage is reduced by 4. And yeah. So you
Cool.
any damage is reduced by 4 each time it hits.
Cool.
Lilith.
So what Lilith is going to do is Lilith is going to move her thing as a bonus action. And then do I know, because of my command of this type of magic, that if a person is already mind controlled, that you can't re-mind control them?
So what I'm going to treat this is a contest of wills. Basically, you're gonna roll against the beholder's mind controlling effect and see who wins.
Okay. So I am going to cast this against Steven. And that's against wisdom.
Hold on, let me pull up my Lecherous Leon stats.
Oh, this is against Lecherous Leon. I'm fucked.
No, Steven is.
You better be.
No, you succeed. Steven is back to normal. He falls unconscious. We'll put a snail on him.
Okay. And then as my movement action, I'm going to do this and jump down. I'm going to roll an acrobatics to try to reduce the damage.
So, if you want to spend your entire movement, I'll let you climb down the building without any rules.
No, I'm jumping and I'm going to try to reduce the damage.
Okay.
Because I want to keep moving.
Take 5 damage.
Okay.
And you will get an extra 20 feet of movement to travel.
All right. So, she is going to move here. That ends her turn.
Astor. This guy is unconscious.
Okay, well, what happens is, for the second he's about to move, Astor kind of raises the sword, sees the guy fall. He goes, huh. Then he's going to look over towards Gerald, and with his left hand that's not physically holding anything, he's going to actually snap his fingers and misty step over here.
Perfect.
And he's going to swing twice at Gerald. The top right to bottom left. Does that hit or miss?
That hits. 25
Okay.
hits.
25 hits, okay. And then he's going to go ahead and just attack a second time. And just going to go from diagonal left to diagonal right.
$19 will miss.
Darn. Okay, and with that, he ends his turn.
Zarrius.
I will take my shillelagh and I will proceed to stab him with my shillelagh, my staff.
Do I know if Gerald is bloodied or not? Can I see that?
Gerald is not blooded.
Okay.
Geraldiah.
He's probably about to be blooded.
22 hit.
Yes.
Okay, I will attack him one more time with my staff.
That will miss.
Okay. And then I will do an unarmed strike, but with that, I'm going to take off my hood that is covering my horns, and I'm going to essentially ram him with my head.
Okay, do it.
Tiefling headbutt.
If that misses.
Darn it.
It was worth a shot.
Now, how does that look like? How do you miss a headbutt?
It
He's
looks
in heavy
real dumb.
blade.
My head's a little heavier than I expected, so I ended up falling down towards the ground and end up stabbing the ground.
Even though you know what your head feels like your whole life.
I more imagine that he headbutts it and like is nauseated by the impact of your head on the heavy plate armor.
How much of that whiskey did Zarrius have?
I can see a couple of meanie Asmodeus going around his head right now.
Perfect. End of turn.
Yes, that will end my turn.
Okay. Dead, unconscious. NPC is gonna move here. Bryn.
3 shots into Gerald. Oh. Hey, can I use my inspiration?
Yeah.
For a reroll? Is that what we're doing?
Yes, a reroll.
Okay.
19 misses.
Damn. Well, here's the other 2 shots. Yep.
The second one hits.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't.
A 26 will hit.
You don't
Can you
get
get
advantage with a ranged
It's
weapon.
a ranged weapon, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so he has advantage because he's flanking, but he has disadvantage because it's a ranged weapon in melee, so it's just a regular attack.
No. I do not have disadvantage on melee ranged attacks.
But I
He
don't
has
think
crossbow expert feat.
Correct.
I don't think you get a flank with.
But yeah, you don't get a
ranged
flank
weapon.
with ranged weapons.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay.
So I just
Well-
miss all 3 shots.
Just stop making range characters. You're much better
No.
at this fighting.
No.
Okay.
No, but-
One attack at Zarrius, one attack at Astor, and one on Narroth.
Hey, he gave up on me.
He likes me.
23 at Zarrius?
Yes.
13 damage. Oh, that's false. Hold on. Oh, no, he's still not bloodied. Never mind, that's right. Continue. 13 damage. Narroth.
All right. At this point, Narroth is going to try to basically grab onto Gerald's plate armor and set a course of lightning through it, hoping that it will shock him for long enough to get people away. Narroth is going to do a shocking grasp attack.
Cool. Roll the attack. I think he has disadvantage, so... Or you have advantage on it.
I do.
Cool.
Good thing I have advantage on that.
20
Does
hits.
a 20 hit? Okay. It doesn't matter where we take the damage from, but then Narroth is going to look over to Bryn and say, Bryn, maybe you should back up a little bit.
And he is bloodied officially.
That will end my turn.
Lilith.
Okay. Lilith is going to move to here. She is going to reach out, concentrating on the domination magic that is on him, and cast Dispel Magic at 4th level.
Okay. This is a 6th level spell, so your DC is 16.
Yeah. I gotta find Dispel Magic.
There you go.
Wow.
He recovers, and I will give him the snail, and he falls down.
Bonus action, I go. Battle over.
And we're out of combat.
Wait, we still have a peasant we need to destroy.
No.
No.
Bryn will call out, somebody call sentry.
I suppose Narroth will walk over and kind of give a light shocking grasp to the one person left mind-controlled.
Astor's going to go and check out the building because I think you said there was movement there.
Cool.
I will join him.
Lilith is going to tell Bryn to help her drag Stephen over by Gerald.
Okay.
And then she's going to put her hands out and cast just a regular level 1 healing word into both of them.
Okay, I mean, they can regain consciousness if that's your intention.
Yeah, but I want to be close enough to where I can do something if necessary. But the domination is gone, so they should be fine now.
So, cool. Let's play through these scenes real quick. Yeah, so, Stephen comes to first. Stefan. He looks around. He's deeply confused. He feels... He sees the battle wounds that he is. He feels the soreness. He's confused about the armor he's wearing. What's going on? Who are you? Why are you attacking me?
My name is Lady Lilith von Kiln. You were under the domination of a creature of the Wounded King. I ended the domination and have healed you a little bit. The medics here will take care of the rest of your wounds. Where are you from?
We're part of the Myron company. Why? What's going on? Where are we?
Boy, are you
Why is it
far
so
from
cold?
home. You're east of Blackwater Mansion.
What? How did I get here? Who are you? Did you take us? If tieflings would take us.
Shut up.
What?
Listen,
She'll point her pistol over at Maya. That took you.
He jumps up. At this point, Gerald will regain consciousness.
I say calm down. And I say I am a cleric. You are under mind control magic. You did things that you not normally would have done. That creature over there had you under her control. I ended that control. You're safe now.
What? He's like struggling to stand up, and he goes over to Gerald and goes, Gerald, what's going on? And Gerald goes, regains consciousness. Gerald took more of a beating than Stefan, but he gets up and goes, I've been here before. Why are we in Blackwater Mansion territory? Stefan shrugs. Something happened. There's this creature here. Gerald looks to probably Bryn. Ah, tiefling. Did you take us?
She just walks away at this point.
I go, gentlemen, the creature had you under mind control. We ended that. You did things that you would not normally have done. The medics here will heal to your wounds, and I'm sure somebody will help you get back to your company, or you can join the forces here that are fighting against the Wounded King.
We can, Gerald says this to Stefan. We can head to the Blackwater Mansion. Maybe we can find out what's going on. Regardless, you don't want to pick a fight with these people. That one has a magic laser sword.
Wow. Wow.
You said that there was a camp nearby? Forces around here?
Yes. Has anybody from the camp made their way here yet?
I mean, they're the civilians, they're from the camp, but it's only like a 20-minute walk, so you can point them in the right direction. They can probably see like fires at this point.
Well, I mean, I'm leaving the party anyway, so
Tell them to look for Sentry.
I say to Bryn, I said, it's been a pleasure meeting you. I turn to the party and say, I wish you safe travels. And I say, gentlemen, follow me. And I dismiss the duplicate. And I lead them back towards the camp.
Before all that happens, Bryn is going to give Lilith a hug when she says, bye.
Narroth is going to give a nod.
Astor is also going to give a nod and also wonder whether there was anything in the building he was checking out.
We're not going to take care of that this week.
Okay.
I will give a wave to Lilith.
Is the peasant unconscious?
I mean, this guy, we'll say after combat is over, he returned to normal, per se.
Oh, good.
They were just a little frosty. They had to warm up.
What a lucky roll, huh?
Yeah. Danny, I think this is a good place.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the very first episode of the Low Rollers Live. We hope you enjoyed it. You can find us here next week at 9 p.m. For the next installment in our journey and our way on the road to redemption. Thanks for joining us, and have a great night.
And the camera goes away as Lilith is leading these two men back towards the camp, and we fade to black. The end.
And we are back for After the Rolls. Thank you for joining us, if you did, for our regular session. Right now we're going into a little bit of discussion about the session itself, about where we are in the story, and so on and so forth. So, Chris, I think you had planned to talk about some stuff. I think I know which character it's about, too.
So, we'll make this quick because it is kind of late. We did go, I was trying to get done by 12:30, but we didn't quite make that mark. But that's okay. But first thing is just I hope you guys enjoyed the first session. I worked really hard in prepping it. We got a lot of story stuff done. I'm very proud of my players and how they approached things, from Bryn giving Narroth a flower hat to Lilith and her guilt with the whole situation, to even Zarrius' interaction with Asmodeus. I thought was very appropriate for everyone, really. But Astor, I think, made the most interesting decision. I approached Danny Garcia about it a couple weeks ago about what would Astor do knowing that his love is pregnant, and how would he approach it. So I talked to Astor about it and how we want to arrange it. And, you know, Danny, I wanted you to take this time to give you a little spotlight. I want you to tell me a little bit about Astor and his character creation type, and then maybe give me some insight about why you made that decision. And go ahead, and everyone else can throw some inputs, throw some thoughts, throw some compliments or insults, depending on what it is. And we'll go from there. So, Astor, or Danny, why did you create Astor? What was your motivation?
Sure. So, well, the most important bit is that I had played a little D&D before this campaign, but not as seriously as this one. So Astor is, in all essence, quite honestly, my first serious character for Dungeons and Dragons. And because of that, first and foremost, I am not someone who writes stories. I had taken a bit of hiatus of reading books and stuff like that when this was rolling around. So because I actually wasn't quite sure about what to do, you kind of gave me a bit of an idea of why don't we go with someone who hasn't really had much done to him. So Astor, for the most part, is actually a character that kind of started with a blank slate as far as character development goes. So the whole time that this campaign has been going through, he's been growing up as a person. He's been, I think, maturing a little bit, I'd like to say. And along the same vein, too, I've actually been improving as a player as well, I hope. But as far as character and story stuff goes, that's kind of what Astor was. He was just blank. And he is someone who, the way I see it, he's someone who has good intentions and is kind of idealistic to an extent as well, which means he's also a little bit naive in certain respects. And he is someone who, as far as his relationship with Lana goes, he values her very highly. And of course, what Bryn told him in this session as well kind of helped him cement his decision that he wants to be there for her, even if it means separating from the party for a little bit from doing a very important task. I don't know if we want to talk about how we built him mechanically, but I mean,
We can ignore that part.
Okay, cool. So, long story short, honestly, Astor is just someone who, for me, was my first serious character with a blank slate, and is currently going through what we would call or I guess what we could call, kind of a what did you say we called it, Chris?
Coming of age?
Yeah, thank you. Coming of age. He's literally actually kind of coming of age as far as half elves go, but it's just the campaign is what's making Astor who he is. So I personally have been enjoying it very much just because, while yes, I've been growing as a character, I have also been seeing the growth of someone who I will look back fondly on as, once the campaign is over, I'd say.
Nice. Yeah, anyone have any thoughts on Astor, maybe?
I, for one, hope that when he teleports back to the party, he teleports inside of Zarrius' staff.
That would be hilarious, and I would love it.
That would be
I'm
terrifying.
not going to allow that to happen.
No, as far as Astor goes, I really like the character and how the character has grown over the this entire campaign. We've been playing since level 1. We're 10 now, so it's been a while. But seeing Astor has been throughout this entire campaign, and is somebody who played kind of like a mentor figure, whose character was like a mentor figure to Astor at the beginning, or closer to the beginning, to now seeing that change that he's gone through. It's been really cool.
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, I played my character, and Astor really was at odds because my first character was a kind of a bitch, to put it bluntly. And so, plus Danny has matured as a player too, which makes Astor a better character in the long run.
Yeah, I think I was very worried about Astor when he first started playing because I'd be like scenario, and Danny as player would be like, and then by that time, Danny Allinson with his mentor character would just kind of solve the problem. And then you're like, well, it was kind of an Astor puzzle, but sure, you can just hack at it too. But now we see, Astor, Danny taking front line when he's called to in the role play. Mechanically, he's a very strong character. He fits his role nicely as a protector. And we've kind of pushed him away from a DPS towards a tank role the last couple of chapters, but I think it's worked out pretty great.
Yay!
Yay.
Yes.
Chris, did you want to announce what's going to be going on with my character as well? That way everybody knows.
Yeah, sure. So Lilith has talked to me. That's false. Alan has talked to me. Lilith has not talked to me. Alan has talked to me about his job, and during the winter season, he's very busy. He works at a resort, a ski resort that basically puts him on call for the winter. So he luckily gave us the time today. He took the day off to be able to play the campaign, but obviously money comes first, family comes first. He has to pay his bills, and I think we all understand that. So if he gets the day off, he's going to come play with us. I have some storyline written in where he can join us as needed, but this way he won't join us officially until I think it was President's Day.
President's Day week, yep.
Yeah, and then he'll be with us full time. So it's hard because in the storyline, I could feel that Alan really wanted to be like, yes, I'll join you. I will prove myself, especially after John with Narroth was really egging him. I could feel that tension, but I think we all knew like he had to go away because of personal life, which honestly is more important than any game we play. Not unless we can pay you.
Yeah, I mean, and
12 hours of overtime.
Yeah. So, and I just want to say this, I've played D&D for, since the days of 3.5, and I have to say that it's one of the best campaigns that I've been in.
Oh.
And it's not just Chris, it's the guys that I play with. You guys make it fun, and I look forward to it every week. So,
yeah, we've had a good 6-week break, but I'm glad we're back into it. Anyways, thank you everybody for joining us after the rolls. Once again, you can find our stream every Monday night around 9 p.m. We'll be up here, so if you want to hang out with us, talk with us in chat. I'm always watching chat even while the campaign is going. Ask us any questions or anything like that. Feel free to do so. Once again, thanks for joining us, and have a great night.
Ciao.